Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam. Joining me tonight, a full house: Chemo, Joe Morgan, Naota, Leon, even though he's on vacation, Daniel Lim, Kevin Horn and Hamada. Hope all you guys are well. Just quickly, first off, we want to wish Eid Mubarak to all the Muslims celebrating Eid today. Hope everyone has a blessed day. Let's get straight into the boxing. As I said, Leon's on vacation / holiday, so he doesn't want to be on the show too long. The Salt Factory is collapsing, I think some of you guys saw that tweet on Twitter. Leon, your thoughts on Golovkin and Brook?
Well, first of all, I'd like to give you a bit of sugar. I got to hang out with Brian King, my boy Jamaica off Twitter, and Carp from Next Big Pod. We went to see West Ham get pumped by AJ's boys, Watford, which was fucking horrible. But that was the best thing of the whole day, with my team getting beaten 4-2. I got back and started streaming the fight, and it all fell apart. So on the fight, Golovkin was reckless, and I don't know what happened to him. He was out of control. He went wild, wasn't he? He was crazy in there. He wasn't no jab, just trying to power punches all for every round. Don't you think?
Yeah, I was disappointed with him. He didn't really have that that same kind of instinct that he usually has. His range was really off, I thought. Like, one thing I've always credited for his range. He always just out of range for his opponent's shots and just in range for his, and I thought his range was completely off.
So here comes the problem. If we're now saying that was potentially Triple G's worst performance in the last 3 to 4 years, we're going to heap fake praise on Kell Brook for landing an uppercut and a few combinations. What has happened? I'm fucking raging, by the way. Fucking raging. What has happened to he was ill, he was drained, he looks nervous fucking storyline after fucking Kell Brook gets his fucking face caved in fucking 5 rounds? Where is the narrative gone? Now we're heaping praise on him for that. I mean, he was brave and better than I thought he was. But Hearn and this country has fucking embarrassed us this week with the fucking build-up. Was fucking repulsive. I mean, I think this is the worst week in boxing I've had since I'm fucking nearly 40, man. Fucking raging. It's fucking embarrassing, this shit. Johnny Nelson should fucking kill himself. Spencer Fearon should be sacked for basic racism. I mean, Adam Smith, you fucking nonce. I mean, it's fucking Frotch, you horrible new-nosed cunt. I am fucking furious with this fucking whole fucking thing, man.
All right.
It's fucking embarrassing, man.
Leon, I agree with most of what you said.
I'm on holiday. I've had one of the best days of my life today. I just left the bar. They were smashing old Bobby Brown tunes. I was drinking whiskey. It was great, but I had to come and get this off my chest.
Fair enough. And like I said, I agree with 90% of what you said. But for me, I have to, I'm not the chairman of the Kell Brook fan club, but I have to give him a bit of credit because, I discredit people like Rubio, who basically, in my eyes, quit. Discredit Wade for getting hit on the shoulder and going down. So, Brook was in there. He was trying. He was putting the effort in. Whether or not Golovkin was letting him get a hit, that's besides the point.
Golovkin wasn't going to let him. He was landing on Golovkin. Let's give credit where credit's due. He landed on him.
And he took some big shots that left up to the body, that left it to the head, some right hands, man. He didn't go down, so I've got to give him credit.
Mad credit. He had his face caved in after 2 rounds and he stayed there for another 3. So it's nothing. I have no problem with Kell Brook. I knew Kell Brook was good. I've said on this podcast before he's good. And he was good at 147. And fucking Eddie Hearn has fucking robbed him of his fucking career, man. Who comes back from a fucked up eye like this, man? He's got a fucking dodgy Margarito eye now, man. This guy's career could be over in 2 fights. What have they done with his fucking career, man? They've let it go. He did not get the big fights at 147. They fucking sacrificed him to a killer. Whatever anyone says, okay, look, I'm happy to admit, he probably isn't as good as Andre Ward. I don't care if he's not as good as Andre Ward. The man's a fucking killer, and they let him go in there and take his licks. I mean, the guy's got fucking heart and a chin. But what the fuck is Eddie Hearn doing with all of his boxers, man? He let fucking little Edwards get fucking schooled by a fighter who's been fighting for far too long to be in the ring with a guy who's had 9 fights. That whole card for Hearn was a fucking disaster, and he brought it on himself.
Kimo, you want to respond? Give your thoughts. Do you agree with Leon?
Oh my God, the man's on holiday. I feel bad. Oh shit! Yeah,
I'm raging, Kimo, raging.
Leon. I mean, regarding, you know, I'm a Sky fanboy, right? And I've said this already to you guys. This whole week has been absolutely fucking abysmal. I mean, it's just the whole promotion, and I normally don't get annoyed by commentary during the fight, but even during the fight, I was just getting very, very agitated. And the whole fucking build-up, you had to hear Eddie Hearn say that weight's not an issue. Sky was building it up. Oh, it's not about that. Kell's a massive welterweight. He's actually not even a welterweight. He's 154
I'm so angry.
Just moving up one weight class. He's actually bigger than Golovkin, isn't he? Yeah, he weighed in more at the fucking weigh-in than Golovkin. Oh my God, he's the same size. As soon as the towel came in, Adam Smith is like, oh, it's been stopped. Oh yeah, it was the size, wasn't it? It wasn't the skill, because let's face it, he's not greater than Brook. And I'm thinking, like, are you guys fucking kidding me?
Kimo, Frotch was saying it after the first body shot landed. Oh, he's not a middleweight. These cunts have been telling us he's a middleweight for the last fucking 2 weeks. He's a middleweight. He's a monster middleweight. He fucking nearly gets carved in half with a body shot. Oh, it's clearly a welterweight. It's clearly a welterweight.
But Leon, I mean, this is Sky have an agenda, right? And we all understand that. So it's one thing to get annoyed by that, but I can kind of rationalize that. The other thing is, like, the fight itself, it was kind of a mini war, you know, like they were going at it. But
it was a good fight, man. He's his ground, man.
Yeah, it was a good fight while it lasted. I was very disappointed with the stoppage. I thought it was a fucking cop-out, to be honest. And to me, it's not an argument of like, oh, safety for the fighter. No. You chose to get in the fucking ring with Golovkin. And when the towel was being thrown in, and I've heard sound bites as well of Dominic Ingle in the round before that in the corner saying, kind of implying like, okay, you know, we threw our best punches. He didn't get hurt at all, and you're about to fucking gas out. I'm kind of obviously not literally saying what he said in the corner, but this is what was implied, obviously. And it's like, okay, if punishment is going to come, we're going to pull you out. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as Brook was kind of leaning on the ropes, they fucking came on the canvas with the towel. That was before, and I want to imply this like properly. That was before he was starting to take clean punches, man. That was before. So that stoppage, the stoppage that actually happened, is not the stoppage that the corner wanted, because he after that he already took like 5 clean fucking punches. The stoppage in general for me is very fucking fishy, and it's a cop out. And Leon, you wanted to respond?
I'm going to say this is going to be the last thing I say, and I'm going to go because my wife is probably raging with me. But no one trusts a fucking word Dominic Ingle, fucking right said Fred Wanker says. Fucking, he's done a horrible job with Brook in that fight. Also, I've forgotten the point I'm about to say.
Well,
my anger is consuming me.
He's going to need 10 plumbers a dome when you get through with him.
This is it. Quickly, go on. You go.
No, finish up. You gotta.
Okay, all the experts said if he goes 6 rounds, he's done really, really well. He went 5 rounds, got his face caved in, and they're fucking going, oh, everyone's leaving the arena talking about Kell Brook. Kell Brook's on the tip of their tongue. He's done amazing things today. You got your fucking face caved in by an drained Golovkin, so the fucking whole UK media told us, and it's just madness what's happened here. He did so well. He did great. He took all his shots and he stood in there and fought, but it was a mismatch. The fight was a mismatch. And good night. I'm going back to my holiday.
Enjoy your holiday, Leon.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Have fun, Leon.
All right,
take care, bro.
Let me get Daniel Lim's opinion. Dan, your thoughts. I know you said to me earlier on today that you thought the fight was horseshit.
I did. I mean, I thought it was complete horseshit because I think even the orbital damage, I think was somewhat of a result of just a size discrepancy. You know, maybe some of the 47-pounders that Kell fights, if they landed the same shots that Triple G did, it wouldn't have hurt his eye in the way that it did. And I think for me, an orbital bone is probably one of the worst injuries that you could sustain in the sport. So I just thought it was a mismatch through and through. And Kell had a good second round, but that's the only round I gave him. So I don't know, man. I just think this is another sour taste in my mouth just because it just causes us to bicker and fucking argue about things that we shouldn't be arguing about because on paper, this fight isn't a legitimate fight in my opinion.
That's fair enough.
So much negativity.
Yeah, my Scottish boy, MV Chew, jumped on. Chew.
Irish.
I don't really get Irish.
Same thing, yeah, same thing.
Same thing.
How's it going, Chew?
What's happening?
What was your
What's up,
thoughts?
brother?
What was your
I can't
thoughts on
believe
Brook
the
Golovkin?
negativity, man.
That's what I'm saying, True. Come on, man. Let's get it.
Jesus Christ. I thought Brook done excellent considering the size discrepancy. Like the guy said to me on Twitter, whose name I forget, sorry buddy, weight classes matter, and in this case it did, but I mean, I thought Brook kind of exposed Triple G a wee bit. I mean, I know I'll get pillars for that, but he was making him miss. He was making
him pay.
In some instances, yeah. I only gave Brook round 2. But that doesn't tell the whole story of the fight. I mean, that's been used against Brook, like, oh, it's a complete mismatch. I only give him 1 round and shit. That doesn't really tell the whole story because the majority of people were like putting pink coffins up for Kell Brook and saying he was going to die in the ring. And like I seen some other podcast do a Photoshop with his death certificate. And that is just fucking bullshit because... Okay, let's say they were the same size. Kell's more than a match. So I agree with Dan Lemon in the sense it is a mismatch in terms of weight, but I thought the kind of skill level that Kell Brook brought to the fight made it interesting. I thought Kell was landing an uppercut a bunch of times, and that is a kind of punch that Triple G historically has been susceptible to, the uppercut. And really... There's going to be a bunch of guys lining up to want to fight Triple G after that fight. I thought Triple G looked clumsy. I thought he looked not pound for pound whatsoever, and I'm a big Triple G fan. You could say he wanted to carry him. You could say he wanted to make it a street fight, or he didn't have any respect for his power. But at the end of the day, if you're like meant to be this pound for pound guy with all this buzz behind you, you should be a lot more cleaner, a lot more smoother than what you were. And whether that was Kell Brook or whether that was Triple G just being totally disrespectful to what Brook brought, I don't know. But really, you have to give Kell Brook props because for, I don't know, three rounds, he was giving Triple G all he could handle.
Okay, but maybe Triple G does kill Kell Brook if his corner didn't wave the towel in prematurely. We'll never know.
I think if we're being realistic, the corner knew that really Kell had like a maybe 2-3 round window where he could give it his all, and then they were always going to throw in the towel, so to speak. They're always going to be like, all right, he's a bigger guy. Kell's got a long career ahead of him. We'll get this guy out of here before he sustains any long-term damage. I think it was always going to be...
Shifting.
Exactly. They were never going to let him get beat up in there.
Naota, you're siding more with Chew. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, I thought, Brook was outboxing him. I thought that he was negating a lot of the size difference, the power difference, the strength difference, the physicality difference with technique and his skill set. Golovkin, like, I think it's Chew is the one that coined that whole thing of, like, if you fight a bunch of bums, you eventually become one. Golovkin's been fighting guys that aren't up to his level, neither physically nor technically. And I think that's developed bad habits, and I think we saw a lot of them here, where he just went in there kind of waiting in, feeling like he could do whatever the hell he wanted, and he caught a whole hell of a lot of shots due to that. Kell Brook was a lot sharper than even Golovkin expected. I think the look on Golovkin's face kind of showed that as he was getting hit with a bunch of those straight shots right down the pipe. some of the uppercuts as well. Everything was short and clean. And the fact that Brook was doing a little bit of a shoulder roll off of the ropes and everything, I mean, he was looking really slick in there. We didn't even necessarily know that Brook had that many levels to him. He had never really had to show as much of that technique as he had as a welterweight, obviously, because he was the bully in that case. But now going up against a bigger bully, he showed a lot more of a skill set than we assumed that he had, and I think that then Golovkin assumed that he had. So he went in there, and I mean, I had the fight even going into that 5th round. I mean, the judges apparently had it 3-1 Brook, and I can't necessarily argue with that. I mean, it was a close fight. Brook was able to match Golovkin pretty much technically and overmatch him. It's just that he was himself overmatched physically. And I think, once his eye got busted up, his corner saw that, there might be a break there. They felt like, well, the tide is shifting over to Golovkin, and all Brook's going to do is just take a nasty beating. And we want to save him right now because of the fact that, I mean, they have another probably $4 or $5 million payday with Canelo after he disposes of Liam Smith. And, I know we'll get to that a little bit later, but, it was really just cut your losses ahead of time before you rack up even more. You know what I mean? Like, you got to know when to fold them. So, I mean, Brook did a hell of a job. I think that Golovkin might have developed a lot of bad habits, and, he's on the older side too, and, it's not a good idea to be developing bad habits when it's possible that you might also be slowing down as well. And that's just a possibility. I don't necessarily think that he's slowing down, but, it's not a good idea to tempt fate. And whereas before I favored Golovkin over everybody at 160 and below, as well as pretty much everybody at 168 except for Ramirez, now I'd give several guys a better shot at beating him. I'd give several, I'd give Alvarez, Jacobs, and Eubank a better shot at him. I'd give DeGale and Jack a better shot at him. And I mean, just considering how many times he got hit by Brook, if that would have had more mustard on those shots, we might have seen a little bit more trouble for Golovkin even than we saw.
Leota, when you say better shot, do you mean like from 0% to like 10%?
Well, I mean, I think like even more than that, like before, like I thought that Golovkin would body pretty much all of those guys. Now with like DeGale and Jack, for instance, I mean, I think that's more of like a 70-30, 60-40 type of situation, and with Alvarez, Jacobs, and Eubank, that's more like 70-30, 80-20 type stuff. You know what I mean? Especially with regard to Jacobs, because Jacobs hits harder than all of those guys.
And he has the most questionable chin.
No, he does. I mean, it'd be a don't blink type of a fight, but he still has his own power. Like Golovkin can't just walk through his shot. He would have to box him the way that he boxed Lemieux.
I think Curtis Stevens hits just as hard as Danny Jacobs.
I don't.
Fair point.
And he walked through his fucking punches. He walked through them.
I think Kevin could expound more on that, though.
Yeah, but it would be biased. So I take it with a grain of salt. I'm just saying. I'm being objective, my man. This doesn't change anything.
I will say
I'll let you go.
Shorty scored both of them. He said Curtis does hit harder than Danny.
And again, even that, I'm not saying definitively one way or the other. I'm just saying, for me, I agree with Gennady. He has created bad habits, but all I need to point to is a Lemieux fight. If he utilizes that kind of game plan against anyone at 160 or 168 right now, I pick him to beat anyone up there. So
I'd pick Golovkin over pretty much everybody still, but at the same time, I give them a much better shot considering what Brook showed.
I think he only doesn't look invincible.
No chance.
He only doesn't look invincible because he just fought somebody walking hands down right into him and fucking mushing him and throwing him around. I wouldn't get too carried away with it.
That's the difference. If he fights a Lemieux or another middleweight, it's just all about respect. Golovkin had zero respect for Brook, and he just went wild. He went in there without a jab, just literally trying to just wind up on his shots and try and take his head off, because he was almost insulted at the fact that he had to get in there and fight a blown-up welterweight. So I don't buy into, Golovkin slipping. He's shown Brook's exposed flaws. I don't buy into that. He's still the same fighter that can just dominate fights. You saw by the Lemieux performance that he doesn't have to just go in there, wind up. He can just break guys down systematically, and I still think he's the same Golovkin. He just went a bit wild on Saturday night.
I agree.
I think the one thing everybody would have to agree on, though, is like, he's 35 now. Maybe there's going to be one day, 18 months from now, it's like, damn, he's almost 37. He's starting to look a little slow. Maybe 3 or 4 training camps a year are taking its toll. You don't stay young forever. he's someone who stays in shape all year round. Like, that eventually, that takes its toll, I would think, So that's why I just want to see a big fight soon,
I'm glad you actually brought that up too, Cage, because of the fact that I'm wondering if, him staying so close to weight all year round might be harming him as well. The whole idea of him looking sickly and everything. I felt like he was going to rehydrate and all that stuff just fine. But at the same time, when you're living at such a low body fat the way he does, I mean, eventually it catches up to you. Hopkins caught up to him with Jermaine Taylor. He moved up to light heavyweight, and all of a sudden he looked like a whole new guy. That could potentially be starting to wear on him as time goes on. Because, I mean, he's basically been fighting at the same weight since he was like 21, since he was in his early 20s. He's much older now. He has all of his man strength now, so... by this age, most people have usually moved up a class.
Yeah, I think he should move up to 161.
Golovkin weight. I want to ask Kevin another question, but he's dropped off. Joe, do you want to add to anything you said earlier, or shall I get to Hamada?
Let me just add one more thing. I just think Triple G, his fighting style... Oh, my bad, Joe. But you sound like an alien, but if you want to continue... Keep going for it.
I think Joe's having connection issues, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'll let Hamada go. One thing I just wanted to say that I think out of all of the active top-level guys right now, I think Triple G's style is the most conducive to moving up with age because his style doesn't require much athleticism, if at all. Just fantastic footwork and great technical skills.
Yep, I think Joe's back. Joe, do you want to add to anything you said earlier?
Yeah, how's my sound?
It's fine now, yeah.
Yeah, no, just quickly on the fight, I'm sort of in between whether it was to be annoyed with it or sort of to enjoy it for what it was, because I get why guys like Lim think it's an absolute joke fight, and in a sense it was. All the guys that followed the sport knew in the build-up it was a joke. Brook was putting on all this just like fake weight that would just make him look insane at a weigh-in, but realistically he had absolutely no chance of beating him, and it's easy saying that now, but. You listened to the podcast before on the Monday. We were saying stuff that again the way we were it broke absolutely no heart.
Yeah,
Joe, you're breaking up.
Yeah, you broke up, Joe. We missed what you said, Joe.
Hey, stop interrupting him, Chemo. Fuck.
Is it better now?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, I'll try and be quick, but basically. It just comes down to a respect issue for me. You obviously showed him no respect.
You respect box?
Yeah. Leon had a really, really good point in that I put a lot of blame on Eddie Hearnstall and his managers, because as a promoter and as Kell Brook's manager, whoever he is, it's your best interest to look after Kell. And I get, fighters are fighters. They'll fight anyone. You'll ask flipping Roman Gonzalez. He'll fight Triple G if the money was correct. That's the sort of attitude these guys have. So it's up to the guys who protect them to think that, that you will get a lot of money, but think of the absolute damage you're going to go through. And if Kell Brook had had his career managed properly and promoted...
Yeah, Joe, you're breaking up again. So you're breaking up, Joe. I'm going to move on. Kev, do you...
Sorry, Joe, we're throwing in the towel.
Yeah.
You're done.
he's breaking up like Kell's face.
But as Eubanks said, we don't have no towels over here.
No, but then in previous interviews, his dad said that he'd throw it in if he was.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kev, anything you want to add?
I mean, nothing really. I think it's getting overblown both ways. I think the people who tried defending the fight beforehand that it wasn't a joke, like all the real fanboys. Are trying to say, see, it was a firefight, it was a great fight, and the people who hate Triple G are like trying to make it seem like, you see, he's a bum. Imagine he was in there with Ward, or he gets hit all the time. And I think we've all said multiple times on this podcast throughout the years is like not necessarily just carrying people, but like maybe fighting down to the level of his competition, or just knowing like you're gonna get hit if a guy can't hurt you. And that's the first thing he said after the fight was like. Yeah, he's good. He has skill, but he's not a middleweight. I didn't feel anything he threw. So why is he going to necessarily use sharp defense and do all that shit? He's going to come in like a wrecking ball. And if you look like the first 40 seconds, he had him in the corner and he buzzed him. And after that, he knew it was going to be over. And it was. It was over as soon as he wanted it to be. And people like he shouldn't have threw in the towel. I guess if you want to see more of a sustained beating, but Dan will probably say, because he's done more sparring and stuff than anybody else, when you're tired, that's when you're more susceptible to get hit, and to get hit with punches you don't see coming, because everything else gets lazy and all your technique falls apart. And this guy was completely gassed. When you hit a 200-pound heavy bag as opposed to a 125-pound heavy bag, your energy goes quicker, and he was just done. He was done. There was nothing left for him to give. It was a payday for both fighters. They both got paid, and now they both move on. But I still am not picking anybody besides Andre Ward between now and 175 to beat Triple G. And unfortunately, I don't think Kell Brook is going to get another big fight at welterweight, because after putting on this muscle and this weight, he's probably going to go to 54. So who knows?
Well, probably Alvarez next. Like they were hinting at.
Yeah.
Well, if that happens, good for Kell Brook. And then everybody who shitted on his manager for making this fight just got him $5 million for fucking Triple G and another $5 million for Canelo and a $10 million cash out. So,
there you go.
Hey.
Canelo just going after Brits. He's trying to take down the British.
He's going after British welterweights. He's hanging their heads on mantles, man.
Hamada, you were in the building. Your thoughts on the atmosphere and the fight itself? I know I read some of your tweets and you saw it different in the arena than you did afterwards watching it back.
Yeah, I did. Which one should I speak about first? When I was in the arena or when I was watching at home?
Whichever one you want, my friend.
Chronologically.
In the arena, man, as well.
When I was in the arena, I thought Brook was doing really well, but I don't know. Every punch was getting cheered, even when he was hitting Golovkin on the gloves. There were huge cheers for every bit of thing, every little. When Brook threw a punch, he was getting cheers. Like, they were going crazy. The crowd was going crazy. So I don't know. Maybe I got sucked in. I think Brook definitely won 2 rounds. When I was in the arena, I thought Brook won 2 rounds, maybe 3. But I thought the 4th round, Golovkin won. And the first one was touch and go, even though Golovkin did rock him real early. But yeah, man, Golovkin looked like he looked crude, man. He looked like he was missing a lot when he was in the arena. But then when I went back and watched it, like, some of his punches were landing, but they were more like glancing blows. They weren't hitting Brook on the top of the head, the side of the head, his shoulders. Like, it weren't hitting Brook clean, but it was still touching him. So you gotta score those punches for him. So when I got home and I watched it, I actually had it 3-1 to Golovkin. I only gave Brook the second round. But yeah, man, for me, I enjoyed the fight, man. It was a great fight. It was back and forth. Brook stood there and was trading with him. He was getting the better in some of the exchanges. But when I watched it at home, I saw that Golovkin was blocking and parrying a lot of Brook's shots. Like, Brook would land with probably the last punch of a combination. And everyone would think, oh, like, do you get what I'm trying to say? When I was in the arena. It was great, man. Honestly, I enjoyed the fight. I actually liked it. And Brook did well. And when we was in the arena and the fight got stopped, literally the arena empty straight away. Everyone was pissed off because we all thought it was a quick job. We all thought, you know what, they're trying to, avoid that Amir Khan like knockout. But we knew Brook had an issue with his eye, but we thought it was a cut. We didn't know that it was like an eye injury. We thought he was cut because we saw blood. There was blood in the ring, so we all thought that he was cut. And then when it was getting stopped, because Ingo was on the ring apron waving the towel, and even the ref wasn't even taking any notice of him. Even the ref was kind of shocked that he was trying to stop it. So yeah, everyone went home pissed off. Like, literally, when the arena emptied within seconds, hardly anyone was there when they were doing the interviews. And yeah, like I said, I just thought I saw 2 different fights. One when I was in the arena, one was at home. Golovkin was dominating, but he was reckless and he was crude, man. He was saying all week, apparently he was talking about street fight and crazy fight, and that's what he really came for.
Hamada, you said that you really enjoyed the venue, and because I've never been to the O2, and every seat was a good seat. Just quickly, your thoughts on the arena itself.
Oh, mate, the O2 arena it's an incredible venue, man, for boxing. Where we were sitting, we was quite high up, so we were basically in the gods. But literally, I could see Brook's back muscles, and
Nice.
literally, you could see you could see everything clear. It was just great. Like the pictures and the videos that I was taking didn't even do it any justice. It actually made it look like we was further away when we weren't. Like honestly, it's great venue, great air conditioning. I didn't even need to take my jacket off. The Wi-Fi was excellent. It was just
How was the Wi-Fi signal? Was it 5 out of 5?
Oh, 5 out of 5, full bars. It was excellent. It was honestly, the O2 is a great venue for boxing, and the atmosphere in the arena, especially like when the big fight and just before it when they were playing Sweet Caroline, it was amazing. Honestly, it was just something you don't know until like you see it on TV, but it's not the same when you're actually there and you feel the energy of the crowd. So, and even when Brook was coming out, his ring entrance, it was just epic. Honestly, it was a great experience. You know what I mean? So, hopefully, I'm gonna go to more fights, man. That's good. That's pumped me up. But obviously, I'm not gonna go to no Anthony Joshua fights, you know, because
you won't get tickets, bro.
Not only that, it was casual central, like there, like loaded with casuals, women in heels, short dresses, guys in suits, ties, like. Trust me, it was casual central. A load of guys that just didn't know what they were talking about. It was full on casual central, like, and I could only imagine what AJ fight would be like. You know what I'm trying to say, like, because he brings out all the casuals.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Did you nick a bird, Hamada?
I got a haircut. I got a haircut. I went to the gym, but I didn't manage to nick a bird. So I was a bit disappointed.
That's the Eddie Hearn trifecta, my man.
Exactly. And second question, were you with your big bro Wingy Boxing?
Who's that? Who's that? I've never heard of him.
He's another podcast god.
Yeah, man.
All right.
I was with the legend Brian King.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, man. Hey, Brian King needs to call in, man. I've seen him float all over the place on the Twitter world, but it seems like a really cool guy. Hopefully, he calls in the near future.
Honestly, he's much better in person than he is on Twitter. And like he's I don't know. He said that he was really tired, so he couldn't be bothered. But I don't know, man.
I don't know. Lukey would beg to differ.
Yeah. Lukey fucking hates me, mate.
All right.
But yeah, you can move on, Cam.
Yeah, right. I just want to quickly say as well, then, I watched the Sky feed live on Saturday, and I rewatched the fight today with the HBO one, and it was weird seeing, it was nice to see, but it was weird to see like Lampley and B-Hop, in the UK, and they were kind of the B-side as well, because afterwards when they were interviewing Golovkin and Brook, it was like they were getting like the sloppy seconds. Normally, like they always get the first interviews, and then international media always get the interviews after that. It was just kind of a whole weird situation. But I know Kimo wants to add a bit more to what he said earlier, so go ahead, Kimo.
Yeah, I've been very polite, but I gotta get this shit off my chest, man. I mean, how low have our standards sunk that some people actually think that a guy wins maybe 1 or 2 rounds, then get knocks out in the 5th, and actually does a good job? I mean, maybe to some people that sounds a bit like fucking philosophical, but seriously, like how fucking low are your standards if you consider
I was saying chemo all weekend
to be a good performance? I mean, it's just fucking ridiculous. I mean, I really do not understand it. And another thing I want to highlight is I have rarely seen anybody of all my years of watching boxing, watched anybody walk towards an opponent with such fucking like disrespect. Golovkin, I rewatched the fight today, and I'm just looking at his demeanor. I'm looking at where his hands are. I'm looking at the pace that he's fighting. Was just out of control. And I think Abel Sanchez, I didn't really see it on the Sky feed, but I think on the HBO one they showed a little bit the corner advice. I think even Sanchez at one point was like saying like, dude, don't lose control. What are you doing? I mean, I don't know, guys. I mean, I don't want to look into these things because I don't know Golovkin. I've never met the guy, and we're all just guessing here. But he just seemed really fucking angry, and he didn't seem happy at the weigh-in. You know, Sky was capitalizing on that, the fact that he wasn't smiling. You know, the smiling assassin isn't smiling. Okay, guys, whatever.
Oh my God, he's weight trained. He's not smiling.
Yeah,
He's sick.
Oh! He has
I just don't
cancer.
understand.
He's gonna die on Tuesday.
No, Chemo,
He's sick, bro.
I agree. Chemo, I agree. But to be fair, HBO really playing the sickness card as well. To be honest.
Yeah, they acted like it was Michael. They acted like it was Michael Jordan's flu game and shit.
I'm not talking about
Even with
sickness, man.
pneumonia.
I'm talking about his demeanor in the ring. You know, like the build up, you can never really judge that. But when you look at the guy in the ring, he was just angry, man.
Yeah, he wanted to rip
He was
his head
just. Yeah, normally normally in the ring he reminds me a bit of Pacquiao, you know, a guy who's very friendly and always smiling, but then in the ring he's serious, but he still has like respect for his opponents, you know, like you can still sometimes he carries them a little bit,
like he'll touch your gloves, but like Golovkin didn't look like he would touch gloves on Saturday.
No, he wasn't having a good time in there, man. He was fucking jumping and swinging. Like I just saw some wild shit from Golovkin, man. I don't know what it was. Maybe he got, you know, like just annoyed by people over there. I don't know what it is, but that didn't seem normal to me. And especially when he's fighting a small guy where he isn't feeling the punches, to just storm across the ring like that and just fucking want to just almost kill him. Like I thought it was weird and kind of out of character. And from a boxing perspective, like technically, he didn't look good at all. So I don't really get it. And again, people are saying, "Oh, respect to Brook, respect to Brook." Listen, man. At the end of the day, how was he going to win this fight? He was going to win this fight by boxing, right? Was he really boxing? I don't think he was boxing that much. He was using boxing skills, but the pace of the fight was way too fucking high for him to handle. He was throwing with Golovkin, and you know, and I know that Brook cannot keep that shit up. He's not that type of fighter. And as soon as he basically, like KH said, as soon as he was gassed out a little bit, and he couldn't keep up the pace anymore, they threw in the fucking towel. So my question is, what was the game plan going in? Because that's not a game plan for me to win the fight. Because you know you're not gonna knock him out. So I don't understand that. You know, like
the game plan was to make $5 million, make $5 million and survive. That's it.
You're basically answering my question, and that's exactly what I'm fucking saying. It just smells fishy to me, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. And everybody that's praising Brook, I mean, whatever. Okay, you punched the guy in the face who's rushing at you. Whatever, dude. Am I supposed to be that fucking impressed by it? Look at the way Golovkin was coming in. I would be more impressed if you went 8 rounds with him, paced yourself a little bit, and actually made the fight your fight. Because you didn't make it your fight, bro. The way you were fighting at this kind of pace, you're only feeding Golovkin's, you know, the way he makes his fights, man. Unless you knock the guy out, you can't fight a fight like that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, Chemo. You know what? I'm going to do something that I think you're going to be surprised by. And actually, I don't know if I call this a devil's advocate, but I actually do give Kell, I think, a little bit more credit than you do. I completely agree with you in terms of the lack of game plan because I don't think Kell is a natural boxer. And for all of the fucking idiots, I'm talking about the fucking retards out there who thought he was going to be able to outbox Triple G by fighting on his back foot. When the hell has Kell ever fought on his back foot successfully for 12 rounds? Never. His best defensive tactic, like I mentioned on the previous show, is utilizing his overwhelming power relative to his weight class, just holding guys, clinching them, throwing back, and throwing that 1-2 straight down the fucking middle. That's what he does best. And he had his most success against Triple G in that second round of the fight because he chose to engage with Triple G. And I don't know why Triple G was just receiving those shots. Maybe it was of him carrying him, or maybe Kell is just that good. I don't think that's so far out of the realm of possibility. But Kell had his most success against Triple G when he decided to engage him in mid-distance and just trade with him in the middle of the ring. But like you mentioned, Kimo, that's completely not sustainable against him for 12 rounds. So I think there's something said to be there. But at the same time, I do give Kell credit. I thought Kell did really, really solid work when he was actually throwing in exchanges with Triple G. And I think it's fair to say that he probably did the second best, the third best out of all of the guys who fought Triple G previously. And when you take that into consideration with the fact that he is a 47-pounder and the fact that he's fought his entire career prior to this contest at 47 and below, you do have to give him props for that. But at the same time, I'm just so pissed off about the situation because I feel like I'm robbed of so many opportunities regarding Kell Brook. I've wanted to see this guy take over that 147 division for so long. And like Leon mentioned in the beginning of the show, I feel like we're completely robbed of that. And that's the thing that I'm so pissed off about regarding this fight. It's not Kell. It's not me trying to shit on Kell for his lack of performance or whatever it may be. It's just the circumstances around this fight and why this fight was sanctioned in the first place. I fucking hate it.
I think you were way overly optimistic about Kell's ability to make 147 pounds in the future because I don't think he was going to be able to.
Yeah, but at the same time,
but he was. It's not the point.
Exactly. That's my point. Is I feel like my argument is stronger than yours now, because I actually have a piece of body of evidence to go off of, and that every single fight prior to last night, Kell fought at 147 and below. So you can tell me all you want. You think he's visibly drained or he can't make 154 moving forward, but I just look at the body of evidence of every single 6 of his fights that he fought previously at that weight.
Well, the past doesn't necessarily predict the future. I mean, Brandon Rios should probably be able to make lightweight still, but he can't.
Yo, listen.
Yeah, but what's your point? At the end of the day,
I don't even understand what that
he could have faced guys, at 147. At the end of the day, he could have also faced guys at 154. But now, like Leon said, we don't know what the outcome is of this fight. He might have fucked up his eye for the rest of his career, and we might not get to see the potential. And yes, Lim, I'm sounding awfully negative on the call, but of course, the guy got in there with Golovkin, and he fought with him for a few rounds. So, of course, I got to give him a little bit of respect for that. But I'm just saying, as a whole, the credit that people are giving the fight and Kell Brook is just way out of fucking line. And I fully agree with you. I would have much rather see him built up, his 154 career by taking a tune-up fight, getting acclimatized to the weight, and then taking on somebody else. And speculating about whether you can make 147 or not, I don't really give a shit because when he was fighting Frankie fucking Gavin, we were losing time on his career. There was a lot of potential there, and maybe this fight actually proves that how talented the guy is. But we will never get to see that.
Right. And in that case, you should blame him then.
I do blame him because he took the fight. I blame him and Eddie.
That was more directed at Lim.
Yo, let me rebuttal. Listen, yeah. I don't get it. Can't win.
What, yeah?
Yo, listen, you can't win. Look, Kell Brook, when he fights Frankie Gavin and Jojo Dan and Busy and all, he's fighting bums. He steps up to the plate and fights Golovkin, and he's getting shit for it.
Because there's 100 fighters in the middle ground that he could fight that are realistic.
Wait. Charlie Edwards steps up in his 7th, 8th, I don't know, pro fight, and fights a world champion. And all of a sudden, managing careers. Who gives a shit? He stepped up to the plate, fought someone good. He lost. They lost. You got to deal with it. When you're in tough fights, you could lose. All right, we know Kell Brook versus Golovkin is a mismatch.
Hamada, this wasn't one of those situations.
I understand that. Wait, let me finish.
Let him go. Exactly.
I understand it was a mismatch, but at least I respect Kell Brook. He stepped up to the plate. He went up there to fight Golovkin when guys in his own division didn't want to do it. He stepped up. Yeah, he got handsomely paid. Yeah, whatever. He stepped up to the plate. I respect him for that. And we should. Why do we care how people are managed? We want good fights, right? I know this is not a good fight, but it turned out to be a good fight. You just asked me a question. It turned out to be a good fight. You just answered your own question. I watched the fight and I enjoyed it. It was a good fight to watch. All right, cool. Kell Brook got his eye hurt and all this. Listen, I don't care about all that, innit? I don't care about how fighters are managed and all that. I just want to see good fights, innit? That's all I want.
Yeah, that was one of Golovkin's toughest fights.
It was.
Yeah, but say much. Well,
everybody's shouting on it.
Then what's the second toughest picture?
Lim, you're breaking up.
Yeah, you were breaking up. We couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry. What's the second fight then?
Bobby Stevens.
I mean, Uma.
And what did that say? What did that say about the toughness of the fight that had?
You went on Joe Morgan.
So you can...
He's still breaking up.
Yeah, you sound like Joe Morgan, man.
Lim, try.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go.
Nah, man.
I'm saying the tough.
Nah, Lim, you're breaking up again. Just try hanging up and calling back, Lim. But Chew, what was your point? What was the toughest fight?
Well, historically, it's probably Uma. Triple G doesn't travel well. Like, whenever he travels, he gets sick. Like, to fucking foreign countries. He's a guy who, for all the fucking travelling he does around the world, I think he's just better just staying in fucking one country and just fucking building your fan base there. It was a great fight for him, you know. Now everyone knows who Triple G is in the UK. Casuals galore. You don't need to come back, you know. You were saying, like, on the way to the weigh-in, he was stuck in London traffic for 2 hours. That's why he wasn't smiling. That's why everyone thought he was ill. He was just pissed off. If I was him, I would just stop all this travelling bullshit. Just stay in America, fight your fights. And but in terms of, like, to my original point, Kell Brook, yeah, that's one of his toughest fights. And that's a welterweight. So you need to give Kell Brook credit. I don't think Kell Brook's really getting the credit that he's due from Chemo, from Dan, from Kev.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go.
Okay. I think I did give Kell some credit in the rebuttal that I gave to Chemo.
You called that a mismatch.
Because it is a fucking mismatch. How is it not a mismatch?
I said last week you'd be surprised.
It was a physical mismatch, but it wasn't a technical mismatch.
Exactly.
But they go hand in hand with one another.
Yeah, it's a physical sport.
Exactly.
Let's have Chocolatito against Klitschko.
Listen.
How come the big guy never always wins? How come the big guy never always wins in boxing then?
Yeah, but can you please let me talk? Because the reason why that the big guy in the situation that you're talking of is usually a big guy against a smaller guy relative to a single fucking weight class. Not when they're spread apart 2 weight classes. That's my point.
Okay, Connor fan.
What the fuck are you even talking about, my man? You really want to go down that road. You really want to go down that road. Jesus Christ, man. If you want to bring up an example that fucking retarded, we can go down that route if you want to. But all I'm saying is that when it's these 2 guys that are 13 pounds across, how the fuck does that make any sense, MVChu?
Yo, listen, I think that the difference in this fight was punching power, and I don't think it was the size. I think Brook looked big.
But where does punching power come from, Hamada? It comes from size.
He has frightening punching power. It's too much for his weight class. Like, he punches like light heavyweights and cruiserweights. Like, that was the difference, in my opinion. Like,
but he was also 2.5 inches taller, getting walked down by a taller, bigger, stronger guy.
I even saw Brook backing him up. I saw Brook backing him up at certain times in the fight.
Okay,
he was backing him up. Certain times when they were in the clinch, Brook would push him back. I saw that in the fight. My eyes are not lying. I think the difference was the punching power. Brook clearly couldn't hurt him because in Triple G's words, clearly in Triple G's words, Brook is not middleweight division, but he and Gennady kept hurting him every time he landed a significant punch. So that was the difference in the fight. I don't think it was size. I think this whole size thing has been blown out of proportion. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Wow. No, I don't. I have no idea what you're saying.
I agree.
To me, I give Kell Brook credit if he would have fought Spence as opposed to fighting a guy he has no chance of winning a fight the same way no one gave Khan credit for fighting Canelo. Like, to go in knowing you're going to get knocked out and get knocked out in less than 6 rounds, to me, that doesn't deserve a whole lot of credit, in my opinion.
I guess there's just a disconnect between the way we think. I think, and it's really difficult because this fight is such a spectacle to begin with. I think it's kind of hard for us to compartmentalize all these different pieces of information. But I guess what I'm trying to say is Kell did fantastic for the circumstances that he was in, because I firmly believe that 2 weight classes from 147 to 160 is such a substantial jump up. So with those situations in context, Kell did fucking fantastic. And like you mentioned, Chu, if he did give Triple G the second toughest fight of his career or the first toughest fight of his career, then he did amazing. I don't take that away from him. I'm just saying that, you're talking about these different parameters, like, the physical aspects of this fight wasn't that big of an issue. Or Hamada, you're saying that the power was the biggest issue. To me, those are all they all come directly from the size difference. Once you go up weight classes, those guys naturally just punch way fucking harder every time you move up weight classes. And that's where the biggest issue of this fight stems from. And that's my point all along. That's all I'm saying, man.
And you're able to handle punches better when you're a bigger person, you're the same size. When you're naturally smaller and been hit by smaller guys your whole career, and then all of a sudden you're fighting not only a bigger guy, but the best bigger guy with the most power. I mean, what the fuck? Everybody saw what was going to happen, and it happened. So I don't know how you could say it wasn't a mismatch or laugh when someone says you called it a mismatch, because it was. You say a fight's going to be a knockout in less than 6 rounds, and the guy gets knocked out in less than 6 rounds. Like Kimo said, that's pretty. I've never seen in this sport where we give credit to a guy who gets stopped in 5.
No. You guys have got a fucking. No, a mismatch is what happened to CM Punk. He gets fucking beat up in seconds.
Yeah,
that's a mismatch. That's like a one-punch knockout. Fucking Danny Garcia against fucking that skinny guy whose name I forget.
Rob Salka.
That's a mismatch.
This is comparable.
Oh, that's a fucking horrible comparison. How is
Do
that?
you guys not
why
think
are
that this
you
is
giving
comparables?
How is
Salka went from 135 to 140. Brook went from 147 to 160.
So you're comparing this Rod Salka to Kell Brook?
No, I'm not. But I'm not saying that it's that much of a difference, because that was only a 1 weight class jump, and this was 2 weight classes. And obviously, I know I'm not fucking retarded. I know Kell Brook is substantially better than Rob Salka pound for pound and in his respective weight division. But I also think that Triple G is substantially better than Danny Garcia. So that's where I don't think it's that crazy of a comparison to make.
And I know, Dan, that Kimo's going to jump in any second because he's your wee echo. On you go, Kimo.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why you guys are giving Kell Brook like a pity prize, you know? Like, it's like, oh, you did okay for 5 rounds, you know? Like, you hit Triple G a few times. You did fantastic. It wasn't a mismatch. Are you fucking kidding me? He got his face smashed in for good fucking reason, for the reasons that Lim has been saying before, because he didn't belong in this goddamn fight. And even if you don't agree with that from a boxing perspective, you should certainly agree with it from a matchmaking perspective, because it's taken away from good fights that we could have had. Instead, we had to watch this fucking spectacle bullshit. And what do we get out of it? A good fighter that might have ended his career here. Or he might take another good fight against Canelo, but who knows, man? He might take one more jab in the face, and his eye fucks up again. We don't know that, man. This. I don't understand why you're okay with this fight. There's a reason why everybody was ripping it to begin with. Like, you were just trolling about it, MV2, and I think you're trolling about it still right now.
Have you been reading my diary?
You're saying,
you're calling me a trolling man. How the fuck do you know? You don't. So don't fucking speak for me,
because it just doesn't sound it doesn't sound serious, bro.
It doesn't sound sincere.
You wouldn't prefer Kell Brook against Spence, for example, in this fight.
No, that's not what he's saying either, right?
Of course.
Yeah, I know.
Of course, I would. Listen, I would love that fight. No, wait a minute, Dan. I would love that.
So why are you condoning the fight? I don't understand.
Because listen, both guys are getting ducked, and it was like a fight out of necessity. Fucking Eddie Hearn went to.
Didn't get ducked, Eddie Hearn. Okay. Kell Brook didn't get fucking ducked, okay?
Spence is up. Spence is basically up for this fight right now for Brook, and now Brook's probably going to dump the title and leave, and we're not going to get the Spence fight. So don't say that he's being ducked when Spence worked his way into it.
Yeah, let MV2 go, man. Let him go.
Amir Khan didn't duck Kell Brook. That's the fight that Kell Brook's been won.
Yep, he did. Khan did duck him.
That's one fighter.
Exactly, one fight.
That's the only fight he wanted. That's the big money fight. He could have fought Errol Spence for shit money comparable to the risk. So why would they do that?
Now you're a manager suddenly. Why are you just ripping managers? Okay. No, it's about money.
You're the one who's matchmaking. You know, I'm
yeah, there's a difference between being a matchmaker and looking out for somebody's fucking financial interest. I'm a fan, so I look at matchmaking, not at fucking money. Yeah, I want to put good fights together. That's the difference between a matchmaker and a manager. You're suddenly talking about fucking money. I don't give a shit about money.
When did I talk about money?
You just did.
When?
When you're talking about
saying that he would fight him for shit money. That's exactly what you said.
Dude, come on, man.
Wait a minute.
Stop trolling.
I'm not trolling. Why would he fight Errol Spence? That is obviously the best fight. But he's not. He needs to get paid for that. he got paid against Golovkin. Golovkin's the fight that's going to fuck him out. He's
You
going
don't
to have
think he would
that
have
eye
got
problem.
$2+
now you
million
are
to fight Spence?
Say that again?
You don't think he would have got $2+ million to fight Spence?
Probably. Maybe about 1.5.
Yeah.
Who knows? But would Errol Spence come over to the UK?
Why are we talking about money? This is not about money. Because if it was about money, I would condone this fight because they made a shitload of money. This is not about money.
And also, I think there has to be something to be said about Eddie Hearn then playing the liaison, being the middleman, and looking out for Kell Brook's career, and understanding that even if this is half or maybe a third of the money that you're getting against Triple G, this is still the more correct, the more healthy, and the more logical step in terms of building this guy up, rather than cashing him out.
I've said my piece, man, regarding this subject. This was not a fucking competitive fight. I don't give a fuck about money. I mean, I want to see a good fight on my TV that I know. Actually, sorry, that I don't know the outcome of. And this fight, we all knew the outcome, and that's exactly what happened. But all of a sudden, we have to praise Kell Brook, who happens to be a damn good fighter. I'm never going to deny that. But this is not the fucking fight that I want to see this guy in.
If only they could fight for free, Kimo, eh?
It's not, dude. Why are you changing the subject? If we want to talk finances, we'll stick to that. But we're talking about good fights here,
which involves money.
It's not about. Okay, I mean, if you want to make it a finance, then go sign up to be.
It turned into a good fight for while it lasted.
Yeah, because Kell Brook decided to do a game plan which he can't fucking sustain. That's why his corner saved him before he started taking punishment. He gassed out. You know this guy can't go to war. Come on.
He tried.
Stop fucking around. Why are we condoning this bullshit? I don't understand.
He wasn't just going to war, and plus that was the only chance he was going to have regardless. If he would have shelled up and played defense the entire time, Golovkin would have just given him a worse ass whooping for a longer period of time.
Right.
Which proves the point that any outcome of the fight will be negative, right, Nicky? So the fight in itself was horseshit.
Wait. Can I ask you something?
I am bitter.
Wait. Let me ask you something. What was the worst mismatch, yeah? Jacobs versus Mora or Golovkin Brook?
There were two shitty fights, so who cares about it?
Exactly.
Yeah, both two shit fights that you knew were going to end in knockout. They both ended in knockout, and they were both unwatchable shit fights.
One guy got dropped like 9 times, and the other guy didn't even touch the canvas. Brook didn't touch the canvas. He didn't even get dropped.
Yep.
Okay.
And he fought
because his corner threw in the fucking towel.
He
left the ring in the middle of the 5th round.
And he put it back on Golovkin. He put it on Golovkin. Like, literally, he was putting hands on him.
Yeah, for a round. Okay.
All right, guys.
What are you trying to? No, hold on. Let me just clarify a couple of things. So, what are you trying to accomplish?
Mora and Jacobs are in the same weight class. They're in the same weight class, but that was a bigger mismatch. That turned out to be a bigger mismatch.
But this is the most important aspect that I think we're forgetting, is that it's not just the mismatch between the two opponents. It's what we're robbed of in terms of Kell Brook's future. And we've mentioned this so many goddamn times. And listen, I don't want to go down the path of...
He had no future. This is a cash out. Brook's not fighting again. Why do you think he took this fight?
Of course he doesn't have a future now in hindsight because of this fight. That's
he didn't have one before.
He did. He absolutely did have a future at 147.
So why would he
not have a future?
Why would he take it then?
Because it was a money grab. It was a shameless money grab, and which is exactly the reason why I'm not okay with this fight.
He left the most talented rich division, all with fighters that he could fight because of no promotional disputes, and he left that to go fight an unwinnable mismatch where he got bodied in 5 rounds. That's what happened.
Yep.
He took the money grab. He took the money and he's gone now. That's it. It was a money grab. Now he's gone. Like he's not around no more. So at the end of the day, if he had a future, he would have. He wouldn't have took this fight.
You're probably right. Who knows?
Right. That's
all I know is I didn't want this goddamn fight.
That's enough.
I don't know.
Save me, Cam.
There's something called confirmation bias. You had something coming up into this fight that it's a mismatch. You just ignored what happened during the fight, and you're just going with that narrative. It's a mismatch.
He got stopped in 5 He lost all but one round. He got the shit beat out of him. That was confirmation of the bias. He got his ass whooped.
KH, you're saying he got bodied. Where is the body? Where is the
towel.
body?
Didn't get
The
dropped.
body was him walking out of the ring in the middle of the 5th round.
Where is the body?
Not one. He didn't get dropped.
Where's the body?
If his corner didn't wave the towel and he's dead, what are you going to do to help him?
Listen.
Tell the ref that.
It would have been Rosado all over, man.
You guys, yeah. I was like,
yeah.
And I was saying how bad of a mismatch, etc., etc., etc. You, even though it, like, the fight was semi-decent, like, quite good, you guys are still pushing it. Like, come on, man. Like, let's be real. Like, you guys are just, choose right. You're just ignoring what happened in the fight. Like, you just continue. Yeah, it was a mismatch. Yeah. Like, look what took place. Brook was putting hands on him.
Yep.
Come on, man. He was making good.
We seen Willie Monroe Jr. put hands on him for 2 rounds. What does that mean?
And I
Was the Willie Monroe Jr. fight good?
I give him
Willie
credit.
Monroe Jr. threw 100 punches in the 2nd round and hit him with 60 punches.
I give him credit for
to you, like,
Yeah,
it just seems like it's to you, like, it just seemed like, oh, Golovkin performed bad and Brook.
I don't think Golovkin performed bad at all. Did you not just hear me say I don't think he slipped? I think he performed with a guy in front of him who can't hurt him. He got him out like he knew he would, and he still beats everybody besides Ward between now and 175.
Right. And
don't think Brook had anything to do with how Golovkin was fighting. You don't think so?
Yeah, Willie Monroe Jr. did too, man. You're right. I'd like to see him versus Brook next.
Right, Hamada, that's it now. We've burnt enough time with Golovkin. We're going around in circles. We need to move on.
This fight is awful.
Just quickly, I want to
terrible.
say Golovkin partially coming out to DMX, what's my name, was really nice. I wish he would have used it for the whole ring walk, but there you go.
Yep.
Instead of whack-ass white stripes.
Yeah, I'd have to change him. I didn't like that. It was nice when DMX started, though. But yeah, let's move on. What fight did we really bothered about regarding the undercard? I guess the other highlight fight for me was Casimero versus Edwards.
Yes, indeed, man. I mean, yeah, Edwards is like Hamada kind of touched on earlier, was stepping up in his 9th fight, trying to get a world title, trying to get into the big payday realm at the flyweight, super flyweight area, but he got his ass whooped. I mean, Casimero went in there and, I mean, just pretty much beat him up, beat him down, and got him stopped. But I mean, props to Edwards for taking the fight, taking the opportunity when it was presented to him. You know, he's a young guy, 23. He could still learn a lot. You know, Casimero's a road warrior, though. He's beaten guys in their home turf numerous times. He's beaten, Colombians in Nicaragua, beaten South Africans in South Africa, beaten a Thai in China, beat an Englishman in England. So, I mean, he did the damn thing.
Nauta, I got to the arena around the 8th round, so I missed most of the fight. Like, how was it going? Like, was Edwards doing well, or was
he was doing okay for I'd say the first 4 rounds. Like he was kind of hanging with Casimero, boxing him, sticking and moving and everything. But it's just that Casimero is quick. He has quick hands, especially the right hand, and he's powerful. So it seemed like the power was starting to wear on Edwards, especially the body shots. And it was just a case of him getting kind of worn down by the overall pace of the fact that Casimero was able to kind of cut down the distance and just beat him to the body and the head with that right hand.
Because I was saying to the guys I was with that if it goes to the cards, I could see them robbing him. Like, you get on track. That's what I thought. But then,
well, I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily say it would have been a robbery because I mean, Edwards was hanging with them like boxing wise, like points wise. You know, it was a pretty back and forth, tit for tat type of a boxing match. It's just that Casimero's punches were doing more damage, and it got him stopped.
He couldn't stop the uppercut.
Yeah.
The uppercut was fucking him up.
And Casimero's...
Go on, Cam, go on.
I was going to say Casimero's right hand to the body was working well as well. Even though at times he was a bit wild. We were talking about Golovkin being a bit wild. Casimero's quite wild there. He was kind of leaping in with the hooks and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was
that's very much his style, though, too.
It was a fun fight to watch, and it was quite early in the schedule, and it was a shame because I thought if it was bumped up a bit, it would have been better because I think the Hall Haskins fight sucked a bit of energy out of the crowd, and so did.
Yeah, it should have been after Hall Haskins. That was a better fight than Haskins and Hall.
But what were you going to say, Hamada?
Yeah, I was I was messaging someone at the time, and then all of a sudden the guy next to me just said, "Oh, cracking shot," and I saw Edwards on the floor, and then I saw the replay. It was a cracking left hook. It was a Miguel Cotto like left hook.
Short left hook. Yeah, they both went to throw the hooks, and Casimero landed first, and yeah, it was a nice shot.
And as soon
as Edwards, though, you know, like he tried to get up, he tried to continue, but I think his corner kind of jumped in, and the ref jumped in at the same time.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that he was down and he was trying to get up, I knew he was gone. I said to them straight away, "Yo, he's finished, man. Like the next punch that lands, he's out." And that's pretty much
the exact same shot that finished I'm Not Ruined Wrong's pro career.
Yep.
It was such a nice left hook. It was so short and crisp. It reminded me of a Cotto left hook.
Yeah.
Anyone else got any thoughts about this fight?
Nah. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
No, it was true. I enjoyed it as well, and I wish like Colin Smith should have been before this because the Smith fight was kind of weak. The Haskins Stewart Hall wasn't that great, but
yeah, the undercard was shit apart from
terrible, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, just quickly on the Haskins Hall fight. I don't know. I wasn't scoring it at the time.
I had Hall win.
Yeah, just from the eye test, I thought it was kind of a fight of two halves. I thought early on Haskins was doing well. Hall was just throwing a lot of single shots earlier. He was just trying to, and he would get countered with the right hand over the top. And Haskins southpaw, he was kind of just throwing off the counter right hook and spinning off. But the pressure after the 6th, 7th rounds, Hall was continuing the pressure, but then he started throwing in combinations. That was what was making Haskins struggle, and Haskins did kind of start to gas a bit. But if I had to kind of score it off what I just saw, I thought maybe Hall just nicked it, or maybe a draw, or maybe Haskins by 1 round. It was one of those close kind of fights, but 117, 111 by your namesake, Glenn Hamada. I thought that was a really poor, really poor scorecard. I thought it didn't really give Hall any respect at all.
Even 16-12 was a poor scorecard. I don't know. I weren't scoring it, but I thought Haskins was nicking the early rounds. You know, using his reflexes, his movement, his orthodox style. And then afterwards, from around round 6, he started to gas. And like we were saying in the arena, like Hall should have been investing to that body, because if he was investing to that body, he probably would have stopped him late, because he was just gassing from just Hall walking him down. Like Hall weren't really throwing much in those first 6 rounds, and he gassed from that. So imagine if Hall went downstairs, he probably would have slowed him down even more. And then towards the end, Hall was just pretty much just walking him down, throwing punches, and he even rocked him. I think it was the 11th where he rocked Haskins badly. Haskins
the 11th and the 12th, actually, I thought.
I don't like Haskins' style, man. Haskins is a knockout waiting to happen, man. His hands are down.
The fundamental mistake
in the air.
Yeah.
He pulls back with his chin in the air. He's a knockout waiting to happen. No wonder. Like, I was looking at his record, and he's got knockout losses. Like, he's a knockout basically waiting to happen. And I don't know. Like I said, if Hall went to the body, I thought in the arena Hall just about nicked it. That's what I thought. I thought Hall stole it, but I gave Haskins the 12th, I think. I thought Haskins won the last round, and I think maybe that may have made it a draw, or maybe Haskins win. But 116, 112 and 117, 111, I mean, that's a shocking scorecard, man. Especially when you consider Stuart Hall as the home fighter. Like, I don't know where they got that from. And even when we was in the arena, one sec, sorry, Nata. When we were talking, me and Brian were saying, these American judges are so weird. Like, no disrespect, but you get some that love the boxer, and you got some that love the aggressor, and you just never know which one's which. Like, which judge likes aggressors, and they just basically, it's like there's no middle ground with them. It's either they love the boxer, or they love the aggressor, the guy walking them down. And it turned out that they actually like what Haskins was doing more.
What were you going to say, Hamada? Sorry, Naoto?
No, I was going to say the fundamental. Well, I mean, I'll get to that in a second. I did score it. I had it 115 to 113 for Hall. I thought he caught up and, passed Haskins in those late rounds, whereas, he was really frustrated early. But the fundamental mistake that Haskins makes is the fact that he has that, that hands low kind of, wannabe Prince Nassim, wannabe Sergio Martinez type of style. But he drops his hands low while he's still in range to get punched. And so it's like he's relying entirely on reflexes in order to evade those punches. But he doesn't necessarily even have those reflexes in order to do so, especially not later as he was getting tired. So Hall was catching him with straight right hands and left hooks, especially late. And yeah, he was getting wobbled because of the fact that whereas in the early rounds those shots were missing or he was evading them, later on, if he would have at least had some sort of a guard up, he might have at least, even if they would have connected, taken some of the steam off of him. But he wasn't doing that. He was just moving around and just trying to rely pretty much on his feet to get him out of trouble, as opposed to an abundance of torso movement or like a defensive construct, like some sort of a guard or just a glove up, in some sense. So I mean, I thought Hall should have won the fight. The judges got it wrong. I mean, I could see Haskins winning close, but not as wide as they had it. But I mean, I thought Hall won the fight.
I was really surprised at how Hall capitulated in the aftermath. He was getting interviewed. He was like, I lost that. It was almost as if that commentator guy, what's his name?
Dave Caldwell.
Dave Caldwell just talked him into it. Oh, you lost, mate. Sorry, mate. You started too late.
You started too slow. Yeah, he was like counselling him.
It's like he was talking him into it, like just accepting it. It's like, oh yeah, maybe I did start it too late. And then the next day on Twitter, he's like, oh man, I got robbed.
No, it was hilarious. Just the whole when he was speaking to Caldwell after the fight, I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, wait a minute, like, you should be proud, man. You did well. Caldwell just saying, "You lost, mate. Sorry, you started too slow." But yeah, anyone else regarding that fight? I do get a whiff of maybe a third fight because Eddie loves those type of fights where he can make some more money out of two guys. So I could see a third fight on the horizon. But anyone else?
I'm surprised you guys are talking this long about it, man. That was fucking trash.
We respect box, Kimo. We respect box.
Oh, man. After 4 rounds, I was like, no, I'm sorry. I'm out. Can't do it.
Fair enough. You're just a casual, though, so we'll let you off.
But I'm happy to be a casual.
2 other fights. Callum Smith, I don't know. He doesn't need to fight dudes like this. I know he wants to stay busy and stuff, but this really shouldn't be like so high up in the schedule because...
How bad was that fight?
His opponent was game in that, but it just sucked the atmosphere out of the whole fucking arena.
Honestly.
Tell him about it. Tell him.
Like, that killed everything. Like, after the Edwards fight and everything, like, literally, no... I'm not sure if I put the video up, but the arena literally emptied. Everyone went to go get beers and stuff like when after Callum Smith did it, because obviously they gave it a big build up. Callum Smith with all these knockouts. After 3 rounds, they saw that Callum Smith was struggling to get him out of there, then everyone just left to go get beers and stuff. Honestly, and like, honestly, I think the guy was surviving well, like he was actually survivable. I think they just said, you know what, listen, let's just, you know what, here's a bit of extra money, like, just quit, please, like, let's get this over and done with. Because, like, honestly, Callum Smith was never going to stop that guy. That guy had good survival instinct. Like, I'm surprised that I actually sat through and watched it all, but, I don't drink, so I had no other option.
I bet you wish you started.
Oh, mate, trust me, it was terrible.
And his big brother, Paul Smith, why does he continue to fight? I don't know. He was terrible. And just quick on Conor Benn, his level of opponent has gone down. I think they started him off a bit too quick. He fought a guy with 2 fights, 1 loss, 1 draw.
Was there any kissing?
There was no kissing, which was quite good. But I don't know. I think he was a bit better than his previous fights. I think he was using the jab. 1-2s a bit better. He wasn't slapping as much. But it's hard to tell considering his opposition was a lot worse than his other 3 fights. So I don't know. We just have to see how he progresses and steps. But any other final thoughts regarding the O2 Arena card?
Nah, man, just fuck Paul Smith for missing weight again. What weight did he come in? He was like 174, right? I think.
Yeah, I don't know what the initial weight for the fight was, but yeah, he came in at 174. Yeah.
Well, they were. I mean, this is what I don't understand. Sky and like Gallagher's gym Twitter accounts, they're all tweeting like, "Oh, the super middleweight Paul Smith won his fight by knockout. He's back. Real Gone Kid is back." I'm like, God. You people have no fucking shame. It's just incredible.
Yo, I'm actually loving this. Chemo's actually had enough of Sky now. Like this is great to hear.
Yeah, I'm fucking done, man. I think it just killed when they got rid of Halling and Watt. It's over, man. Fuck it.
Oh yeah, actually, before we move on,
before.
Yeah, that's one thing you
on,
two agree on, because I saw comments from Hamada on Twitter saying, you know, Smith and Frotch and they kind of chopped up, like one fight would have Paulie in it and one fight would have Coldwell, one fight would have someone else. You guys both agree though that the whole commentary team was fucking terrible.
And Johnny Nelson was in the corner of the stadium with some bird. Trying to get his hole.
I guess he actually followed the Eddie Hearn game plan.
Yeah.
He nicked a bird.
Unlike our boy Hamada, who could only utilize the Wi-Fi to look at the birds, but not actually get one of them.
But yeah, man, honestly, Adam Smith is terrible. First of all, he's screaming. Like, he's with his little feminine voice, he sounds like a girl that's watching her boyfriend get beat up. He's a fucking, honestly, he was horrible. Horrible.
Can you do it? Can you do an impersonation, Hamada?
I can't, honestly, I can't.
Do it.
Please, just do one. Just try it.
Nah.
It'll feel good. Honestly, after all the stressful banter that we've had today.
As hard as I would try, I can't sound feminine, so I can't do it.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, he sounds like a bitch, man. Like, what the fuck, man? How you get rid of Holland and have him? Like, honestly, I know Holland's bad, but Holland's way better than this guy. Honestly.
I found it very chaotic as well, because you had Frotch and Malignaggi yelling through each other together with Adam Smith, and it just, there was no flow to it. And it was very bad. Yeah.
At least with Holland and Watt, one talks and the other one's quiet, and they complement each other well. Like, honestly, it's crazy that I'm even giving these guys praise, but fucking hell, that's how bad the commentary was on the weekend. Honestly, it was awful.
Adam Smith.
Halling and Watt. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Adam Smith reminds me like the Carry On movies, you know, with Barbara Windsor and shit. that guy, you know who I'm talking about, Cam?
Yeah.
Matron.
What? I don't get that reference.
You need to watch.
You need to watch the Carry On movies, but he's like a kind of like camp pervert.
Nice. On that note.
Yep. On that note, let's move on. Now to go to you. You're the king of the smaller weights. Carlos Cuadras versus Roman Gonzalez. Go.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I had it an even fight. I had it a draw, but I mean, what a fight it was, man. This is like fight of the year candidate easily. You know, if not the fight of the year, top 3 definitely by the time the year is over. I mean, just incredible. You know, Gonzalez started fast and furious trying to get Cuadras out of there the same way that he did Edgar Sosa. And Cuadras at first appeared like he was shocked at how quickly Gonzalez was able to close the distance. You know, I think in a sense he started to kind of feel himself a little bit with all the shit that he was talking, how he was going to smack Gonzalez around, how Nicaragua was going to cry because he was going to lose. But after a few rounds, he adjusted, and the thing is he was quick enough to keep up with that pace and even exceed the pace that Gonzalez set. Because, I mean, he was fast on his feet. He was fast with his hands. He was throwing those shoe shines. And these weren't just shoe shine slap punches. These were shoe shine hurting punches. You know, the guy's got a high, like, knockout ratio percentage. And he's fighting, you know, obviously a guy coming up in weight, a guy that's a fat guy coming up in weight, essentially. You know, if you look at them in the ring, you know, Gonzalez looks flabby, Cuadras looks cut. So he was going in there and just, switching stances, throwing flurries. He was looking like a little Sugar Ray Leonard in there, you know, whereas like Gonzalez was like a mini Roberto Duran. So it was just a classic fight, man. And Cuadras basically was able to keep pace with him, and like I said, exceed pace, especially in the later rounds where Gonzalez started to tire a bit. And eventually, you know, Gonzalez kind of came back in the last couple, managed to basically, like, I guess just eke out the decision on, you know, the grand scheme of things for most people's scorecards. But I've seen cards all over the place, from fans, from the analysts, from the panelists, Just a lot of people thinking Cuadras got robbed, especially because of how biased the HBO commentary was, and we can get to that later. But also a lot of people thinking Gonzalez won, a lot of people thinking Cuadras won, a lot of people thinking it was a draw. I personally had it a draw. I definitely think Cuadras did enough to to me, that is the definition of defending your title. That was a clean defense of his title, but he didn't necessarily beat Gonzalez. He beat him up. I mean, you could see that in the aftermath, but he didn't outright beat him in the boxing match. That was the fight. But, I mean, regardless, it was an incredible fight. And in spite of the fact that I'm sure that a rematch likely isn't going to happen, and in spite of the fact that it would be better for Gonzalez in terms of longevity, in terms of career, in terms of his record, to go back down to 112, that now a fight is too big of a money fight to not happen next for Gonzalez. He's going to make way more. He'll probably make twice as much as he did for Cuadras, which he made $400,000 for Cuadras. And Cuadras deserves a rematch whenever it comes. But Cuadras could very easily get one if he racks off one of the other titles, because he already beat Luis Concepcion, who's the WBA champion. He can and will beat him again if they fight again. And I think he beats the shit out of Joe Nakaz too. He's clearly. Before this fight happened, I gave him a 50-50 shot at beating Gonzalez, but I still considered him to be slightly lower on the scale, like in terms of ability, than Estrada and Inoue. Now I consider him above both of them, and I would actually favor him to beat Gonzalez in a rematch.
Chew, I know you're not the biggest fan of the lower weights, but what was your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw the fight. I give it to Gonzalez just based on activity. I thought that Cuadras had the cleaner, flashier shots. I don't know which fight Lederman was scoring, because he had Gonzalez up big by 6. I think he gave the first 6 to Gonzalez. I was really impressed by that Cuadras. First time I've seen him fight. Nice, left hand, like Marco Antonio Bareva. Fucking jab, hook off the jab, fucking. Even the right hand that fucked up, the lead right hand that fucked up Gonzalez's eye is fucking excellent. But, I just thought, like Niota says, Gonzalez was kind of chubby. He wasn't jabbing enough. He was throwing like a nice straight right. But I just thought that fucking Cuadras was like, as the fight was going on, Cuadras was kind of starting to grind him down and shit, and just like, at the beginning, Cuadras was like backing off too much. He was spinning away. He wasn't running, but he was kind of spinning too much. He wasn't engaging enough with him. I thought he was letting a wee guy push him back. So I could see why you would give the round to Gonzalez just based on that. He was backing him up, but eventually he just started to stand his ground. Maybe that was due to tiredness or what, but when he started to stand his ground and trade with him, I thought he was getting the better of it. He should have done that from the beginning and he might have won the fight.
Kimo, your thoughts?
Yeah, man. For all the bad shit that I've said about the previous big fight that we discussed, there's so many good things to say about this. I know a lot of people try to undermine what the little do in the ring, but you had a guy like Gonzalez who moved up in weight, and people are going to say like, oh yeah, but the gap is not that big at the lower weight classes. Fuck it. He moved up, and visibly in the ring, you could see that he was a little bit bloated. He was facing a guy that was supposed to be the stronger, bigger man, but he didn't fight like it. And me and Naoto were discussing this as well. I think Cuadras he boxed really, really well. He's got excellent stamina. He throws a lot of flashy combinations, some of it which look a bit slappy, but looks can be deceiving. He was definitely hurting Gonzalez's face with it, but I feel like he should have sat down more on his punches. When I watched the fight visually, I felt like his punches, by how much you can judge it, obviously on your TV screen, they sound and they look like the harder punches. I had the feeling that Cuadras was more capable of hurting Gonzalez than the other way around. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I saw. And yeah, I feel like if he sat down a little bit more, stopped moving around so much, even though he's an excellent mover, but I think he could have put his stamp more on the fight. And
there was times where he moved without throwing, and those were missed opportunities on his part.
Well, especially in the beginning, in the first half of the fight, I think that's where he kind of gave it away, and I think Gonzalez just put that amazing pressure that he puts on guys. Just kept on racking up the points, racking up the rounds, and before you know it, you're like 5-6 rounds down. Then how are you gonna get out of it? But the fight itself was incredible. I mean, amazing. The only thing for me personally, and I know that I was lacking a little bit, is them hurting each other. Normally Gonzalez tends to always hurt his guys in front of him, but this time he couldn't really do that, and Cuadras wasn't really going for the kill. So you kind of had guys hitting each other a lot, but they're not really, taking each other out or at least getting a knockdown. So that kind of took away a little bit of the drama for me to call it a fight of the year, but it's definitely up there in my top 10 of the year. But it was a fantastic fight, and I've said it almost on every fucking show about Gonzalez. The way this guy moves, the way he combines, like slipping, moving, parrying shots, and flowing that defense to offense, man, it's just fucking amazing to watch. He looked a little bit flat in his last fight against McWilliams Arroyo, but this time it was just beautiful. But I gotta say, this weight class, maybe it was just how good Cuadras was, but I think the weight class is a little bit too much for him. I don't know what you guys think. I want to see him go back down again.
Yeah, I think this is a limit.
Kimo, to your point, even though it might only be 3 pounds, but 3 pounds for somebody 120 or something, it's all about ratio. Somebody who's 160 going up 6 pounds, something like that. So 3 pounds, you could see it didn't look good on his body either, and he just looked a little swole, and he looked a little slow at points too, because that's the only thing I noted about him was his movement and the way he steps over and then pivots off that, and I don't know, he looked like a little bit of a step off, like he didn't take it to that next level like I thought he would. But it was a fucking sick fight, man.
Yeah, he's not going down to 112. He vacated his belt. So
he
fighting
did.
at 115. Yeah, he vacated the 112 belt. Yeah, he did.
Today?
So, yeah.
Oh.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did?
So he's going to be fighting at 115 moving forward. And, that's probably where the bigger fights are, right? I mean, other than Estrada, if he wants to fight anyway.
Well, the thing is, Gonzalez would technically, theoretically, he's the man. He's the cash cow at the weight classes. I think if he wanted to, he could fight pretty much anybody he wanted, because most people, they don't pay attention to the lower weight classes, so there's not as much of a demand of you need to fight this guy. The only guy that people were really demanding he fight before was Estrada, and I guess now you can add Cuadras to that list. They want to see both of those rematches. But otherwise, it's a case of if he wanted to fight Casimero, he could. If he wanted to fight on Karass or McJoe Arroyo, fight the other brother, or Concepcion, he could, and he would beat all those guys. But the way it's looking is that HBO is pushing him towards Inoue. They're going to pay him big money for Inoue. They probably said something to him, got word to him that they're going to incentivize him to keep moving, or at least to move up to 115 in order to fight Inoue, considering the fact that Kellerman's been hyping him up for the past year and a half, as opposed to Estrada, who they never want to mention on HBO's airwaves. And Estrada was in the arena too, the same way Inoue was. But so even though it would, I think, behoove Gonzalez to go back to 112, and it's the reason why initially they were petitioning the WBC in order for him to keep both belts should he win. The money, ultimately, the risk to reward ratio would favor him at 112, but he's still going to be well rewarded for fighting Inoue at 115. And I think now most people, considering they're a little more familiar with Inoue, consider that a much more even fight than they probably did before. Although I got to say, Inoue brings a different type of skill set than Cuadras. I don't think he has as much speed or as good a stamina as Cuadras. And the way that he's going to have to beat Gonzalez is just with sheer power. It's going to be a test of Gonzalez's ability to take a punch more so, and his defensive ability as opposed to his conditioning and his reflexes, which is what it was for Cuadras.
I think the words right out of my mouth.
I think I don't know, man. I like Inoue, but I think he's way too inexperienced to jump in with Gonzalez right now, man. From what I've seen, yeah, I know he had a couple of good showings, but this is a different fucking animal. I don't know.
Well, and his weaknesses play into Gonzalez's hands to a certain degree, because Inoue has some issues on the inside. He doesn't really slip and roll on the inside. He just puts up the high guard. He's like Mayweather. He has the shoulder roll on the outside. He has the high guard on the inside. And that's where you can get him. But if he has distance on Gonzalez, he punches really hard, man. He knocked out his last opponent with a broken hand. He knocked him out with the same hand that he broke. So I mean, it just shows you that even if he jacks up his hands, he's willing to still put power into it and take you out with it.
But he stands like straight up with that, like you say, with that high guard, man. I think Gonzalez, who's so good at getting on the inside, he's gonna beat up that body and it's gonna open shit up, man. I'm not complaining, because it is a good fight, and Inoue is a big kid as well. But I don't know. Regarding making a pick, I would 100% go with Gonzalez. What about you?
Yeah, no, I'd go with Gonzalez. But honestly, I wouldn't pick Gonzalez in a rematch with Cuadras, which is kind of funny to all things considered. Because going into this, and I think the general consensus for people that really know the lower weight classes like us is that before this fight, Inoue was really the number one fighter at the weight class, and Cuadras was number 2. But I'd kind of reverse that in terms of what they're actually able to do in the ring.
Yo, Lim, you said you've seen Cuadras train, right? Like,
yep.
What do you think? Do you think he overperformed? Did you expect that?
No. I've always thought Cuadras was a very, very good fighter. So I always knew that this fight was going to be close, just because Cuadras has some of the best stamina that I've seen. I've seen the guy be fully out of training camp, walk around at 130, 135 pounds the first day back in sparring. He still goes 12 rounds easy, so I always knew that this was going to be competitive.
Well, I mean, that's the crazy thing is his stamina, man. Because I honestly, it's been years since I've seen somebody that's been able to keep up that level of movement, throw that many punches, and not look tired at all in the fight. There wasn't one.
Legs.
Yeah, there wasn't one. Most guys that move around that much, they tend to get winded in the later rounds. He started every round like the last one never happened.
His legs must be so strong, man. I mean, the way he just hops around the ring for 12 rounds straight. I know it's easier at the lower weight class.
Did you ever think that we'd see somebody that was able to out endurance Gonzalez?
No, especially when he's putting that pressure on you. That's not easy, man. And he puts the investment in the body as well. And I mean, Cuadras was just. I mean, the difference between the first and the 12th round is minimal. It's really not that much. It's incredible.
Yeah, he looked like he could fight another 12 after the fight was done.
Yeah.
His face was clean.
Lim, is there anything regarding the fight you want to discuss or no?
No, I just think, it was a great fight. I do think Chocolatito is a much better fight at 112, but with the financial demands, I think in terms of moving up, that's where he's going to stay at. I think if this was a better conditioned Roman, I think he would have won the fight quite decisively, like he displayed in the first 3 rounds of that fight, just because when Chocolatito is on his game, and like Kimo mentioned, when he's able to transition from defense to offense, from offense to defense, there's really no one who does it better. And just a seamless transition between those two, he does so well. And again, I just think it's him being a little bit bloated at this weight class, man. I just remember Chocolatito fights 2-3 years ago. Like he didn't have that much of a gap in terms of what he looked like in round 1 versus round 9 of this fight. So
when he was at 108.
I don't know, man. I hope that he can transition naturally. I know he's training up in Big Bear right now with Triple G, but that might not be a good thing because we just shed on Triple G's kind of bummy output that he displayed against Kell Brook. So hopefully he doesn't learn from him, right?
Yeah, well, I think he looked better in this fight than he did versus Arroyo.
T-shirts either.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody's gonna borrow from Abel's wardrobe, so that shouldn't be too much
Abel
of a
looking
concern.
like Pablo and Narcos and shit. You can't bend over to tie his shoelaces.
Yeah, but at least Pablo was a badass who called his own shots. Abel's just a pussy who just talks shit. Gets it.
Yo, Kev, you give your 2 cents earlier. You got anything to add to the Cuadras Gonzalez fight?
Nah, there was a lot of fights. I knew that you guys would be loaded on this one, so I'm good.
Yeah.
You guys said it all.
Hamada, you don't really watch these weights, but you did watch this fight. Your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Surprisingly, I watched some highlights of this fight, man.
Nice.
Yeah, man. It's the first time I ever watched a Gonzalez fight.
Just highlights. Couldn't you just watch the whole fight?
I watched basically extended highlights. I don't know. I found the video and I was just
like 3 minutes, like 3-minute highlights.
Yeah,
nice, bro.
But yo, this is the first time I ever seen Gonzalez fight. He's really good, man. Like the way he's
welcome to the party, brother.
Thanks. Hey, let me call him right now. I'll let him know. I'll let him know that you think he's a good fighter.
Hey, you ever know that vanilla ice cream? Yo, that shit tastes good, yo.
I'm late to the party, innit? I'm a casual fan. What can I say? But he's actually really good, man. Like when he's up, like in punching range, like he parries and he uses his elbows and shoulders to flex punches while he's like really close to his opponent, and then it's great because he can get off his own shot straight after. Like, you know what I mean? He's a really good fighter, man. And the other guy was like using a lot of movement and throwing loads of punches. Like I was surprised, like how he could move and throw so many punches. But I don't know. I think like a lot of those punches didn't have much sting on them because I don't know. You know when you move and you punch at the same time, obviously you're gonna have less power than when you actually plant your feet. So I don't think Gonzalez was hurt by any of those punches. I think I saw Gonzalez get kind of rocked late on in the fight.
Yeah, there was an uppercut that Cuadras landed that kind of buckled him for like a split second.
Yeah.
They're not a body shot.
Obviously, I watched a 4 minute highlight video, so I can't tell who won the fight. But from that, like, I would lean to Gonzalez, to be honest.
Nice one, thank you, Mora. Right, my thoughts. I completely disagree with everyone. I saw a whole different fight. I think I need to get my eyes tested again because I don't know. For me, Gonzalez, the pressure was excellent, but I don't think his ability to cut the ring off was that great, especially with Cuadras' good lateral movement. I think you know he was struggling just to kind of get him where he wanted him. I thought Gonzalez missed a lot. I thought a lot of his shots were, you know, just glancing and blocked or just slipped. I think Cuadras' head movement, upper body movement was excellent. And for me, work rate was more from Cuadras. I didn't see any punch stats, but if Cuadras threw, it was a minimum 3-punch combination. And yeah, I agree with most of what you guys said. Hamada said it just now. Chu said it earlier that they were kind of shoe-shine punches. There wasn't much on him. But, you know, I do agree, but accumulation does add up. And if you look at the state of Chocolatito's face afterwards, man, like he looked like he'd been into a war. And Cuadras, apart from the small cut above his right eye, he was kind of unmarked, really. And I just thought, you know, the work rate from Cuadras, the ability to, you know, evade the punches, I thought he kind of comfortably won it. I had it 8-4. I didn't really see it as a close fight, and I'm a big Gonzalez fan, but I just think he did seem a bit plodding. He did seem a bit laboured. Again, like what Kevin Lynn was saying, he looked a bit fleshy at the weight. Super fly, I think, is his limit, and I don't think he should go beyond it. I don't think he will, and maybe going down would maybe be preferable. But I don't know. I just saw a different fight than most people, but it happens quite often these days. I just see something else. Regarding commentary, the UK on Box Nation, we had a different feed, international feed. It was Dave Von Tempo, who you guys know that I'm not the biggest fan of, along with Kevin Kelly. Kevin Kelly! Come on, Kimo, give us a Naz impression. But yeah,
Kevin Kelly,
man! They were awful, man. And something that Local Mexican said in the chat earlier, Dave Von Tempo and Kevin Kelly and Bunce and Barry Jones in the Box Nation studio, I think they were giving a lot of props to Gonzalez of previous performances. So it's like they were living off what he's done in the past rather than what actually happened on the night. Because I remember one part in the fight where I think Cuadras threw like a 4-punch combination. 2 were like blocked, 2 landed to the body. Gonzalez threw a left hook and Kevin Kelly just disregarded everything, the 4 shots that Cuadras threw, and he's like, yo, that's a nice left hook from Gonzalez. And I'm like, are you not watching what Cuadras is doing? But I don't know, it was a weird fight for me. I feel really upset for Cuadras because I thought he performed really well. I know I spoke to King J afterwards, he thought that Cuadras won it as well, so I don't know, one of those fights. Should we move on, boys?
Why are you talking shit about my boy Kevin Kelly, man?
Because he's a great boxer, but not a great commentator, Kimo.
Yeah, he's gonna smoke your boots.
Your fight beats them both.
Let's move on quickly. Kamegai versus Karass. I said last week that they're going to be slapping each other for 10 rounds. It was 7 rounds and a retirement, but it was a bit slightly better than the first fight. Kamegai, I thought his accuracy was a bit better in the rematch. I think he was hitting Karass cleaner with headshots. His body shots were really good as well. It was a bit slappy, but it was okay to watch. It wasn't horrible, and it didn't last the full 10 rounds. So, anyone else?
Yeah, I watched this as well, man.
Go on.
Yo,
highlights or the full fight?
You want the truth?
Yeah,
I know what you did. You watched
well.
the highlights on Twitter, just like me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that 3 minutes.
One thing I noticed was there was a huge difference in punching power between both guys. Like, whenever Kamegai would land on Karass, it was hurting him, like, or Karass was feeding it. And when Karass was landing on him, he wasn't, like, budging. He wasn't moving, like, and then he was just hitting him hard to the head, to the body, and Karass just couldn't take it anymore, man. And then he just, like Mexicans tend to do nowadays, he decided to quit.
Nice.
I think his corner pulled him out.
I'm sure Mexican fans will like that one.
That's brilliant analysis, Amada.
You're just butthurt. You're butthurt, bro. The Mexicans lost this weekend.
Kamegai, shut up. Kamegai did really good though, man. He was really impressive. He learned a lot of things from that first fight. Kamegai strikes me as one of these guys that he learned a lot of boxing skills to a certain extent, and then he kind of leveled off. But now it's almost like he's taking boxing more seriously again. And I mean, the way he was doing the shoulder roll better than Robert Easter was. I mean, shit. The way he was able to slip a lot of those shots and deflect a lot of those shots that Soto Karass was throwing at him, and then counter to the body, counter to the head. I mean, that shit was pretty fucking impressive, man, especially considering how close the first fight was. This was a lot more one-sided. I mean, Kamegai just slowly broke dude down to the body. It reminded me almost like of Broner versus DeMarco in the way that it was fought. In close quarters, him rolling and deflecting while countering back to the body, just slowly breaking him down until he broke not necessarily his body as much as his will, his will to fight. And this might be the end we see of Soto Karass, but I mean, Kamegai is still, he's one of these live dog type fighters. Shout out to Luki Boxing. One of these live dog type fighters that are going there, and if you fight him on the inside, good luck. Good luck bullying him. You know what I mean? Like, back when he fought Robert Guerrero, I was trying to tell people, like, good luck. Good luck going in there trying to outmuscle this guy, because this guy is a beast on the inside. You really got to box him in order to beat him.
Now, to you, like, I was just going to say, like, I mean, Alfonso Gomez beat him. Like, Alfonso Gomez right now, if he's beating
Alfonso Gomez was outboxing Canelo, too, for the first 5 rounds.
At this stage of his career, like, I don't know, man. Like, he needs, like you said, he needs someone to be in front of him. Anyone gives him any sort of boxing, any sort of movement, then it's sorry, like, it's a game over for him.
Well, I mean, I think he could play into a lot of really good fights, though, at 147 and 154.
I don't know if it was me, but he was punching real hard. like honestly, every time he was hitting Soto Karass, like, he was feeling them punches, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Karass is done probably, man.
I think so.
You guys play Street Fighter, right? To me, when I watch the highlights of this fight, all the punches, especially the one from Kamegai, sounds like a Street Fighter punch. They're like, like fucking slappy hard, like, type of punches, man. I think you're right on the money with that, Cam. It was really slappy. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Kamegai is just too much of a plodding fighter. Like Hamada said, anybody that moves like 1 or 2 steps, that's already going to be too much for him, man. I mean, they are what they are, man. They're not high-level fighters. And Soto Karass, he had a good career. Shout out to his, like, awesome topless pictures in fucking Vegas, but I think he should retire.
Anyone else?
No, let's first Margarito.
So you broke up there a bit, then, would you?
Oh, man, Kamegai would beat the shit out of Margarito. But,
no, Soto Karass first Margarito.
Oh, okay.
2 of the last remaining Mexican bums, just let them go at it.
Angulo fights the winner.
Exactly.
Doghouse rules. All right, let's move
Hell
on.
yeah.
Let's move on. Talk about Kevin Horn's boy, Danny Jacobs. Kev, Jacobs Mora rematch that was not necessary. Your thoughts?
You just said it. It was not necessary, man. Fucking awful. Like, Mora looked really fucking fragile. Every time he got hit, it looked like he was hurt. And then he pushed him down at the end of one round and walked off like he really knocked him down. Like, you can't pull that act. Like, yo, dude, you ain't fooling nobody. Yeah, there's really not much to say about it. Ridiculous fight. Danny looks strong, but you're probably going to look strong if you're fighting Sergio Mora for a second time. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Danny wanted to take his head off, man. There was no jab. Everything was a power punch, but it wasn't great to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, and he was a little wild, too, and stuff like that. But, like I said, it was immediate. There's really nothing you could take from the fight.
Yeah. Anyone else?
But it was a grudge match, though.
You know what I mean? It's the fight y'all wanted, but you didn't want.
The fight we've been waiting for.
The best is when, like, Danny's like, and I know Cam told me over, he's like, you know, I kind of liked him at one point, but he's hard to like because he says stupid shit like, yo, maybe I'm going to get killed for taking this fight, but I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. Like, nah, you could have fought like 50 other people and not got killed for it. So, like, it was just a stupid thing. It was just fucking awful. I guess at the end he called out Triple G, which was good. So let's see. WBA, I think, mandated the fight just now. Yeah. So that's what it comes down to. See what happens. See who blinks. If I'm hoping it goes to purse bid, and that's it.
Finally the WBA does something right.
Yeah.
Yo, to me, it just looks like Mora, his body has just completely broken down. He doesn't even, like, get knocked out from like, concussive punches. It's just, like, you hit him, and then his legs will just give out. I think his knees are shot. Like, he's just completely done, man. I mean,
his elbow dislocates.
He looks like a Carl Froch that's been on H for, like, 8 months.
I still think he gives Golovkin issues, though. So.
Yeah, he's a spoiler, though.
Big issues.
Big issues, yeah.
But, yeah, that's bad when, like, in your prime, the best you could say about somebody is that they can make people look ugly. And in other words, that's like saying he can make a fight ugly because he just doesn't want to get hit.
Good, though. But, I mean, the Jacobs pretty much cleanly outboxed, dominated him. Did a good job of it. And, Jacobs, Golovkin is hopefully on deck.
He knocked Mora down with a punch to the shoulder, so there must be some power.
Well, three of those knockdowns really weren't knockdowns. They were like pushdowns, and then like him punching Mora in the spine.
Yeah, I mean, Mora was trying to
Did anybody even ask if they were testing? Did they test EPO? These are the questions that these reporters are not asking. I just don't understand.
I don't know, man. Jacobs is looking pretty big.
And yet we don't even know his TR ratios. Are they using CIR?
All right. Anyone else regarding Jacobs Mora?
Okay. Now let's get to Easter Commey, man.
I was going to say, Naota, last week you and me were saying this is a bit of a sleeper fight.
This is fight of the year right here.
It's not fight of the year for me, but yeah, we said last week, Naota, this is a bit of a sleeper fight. Robert Easter Jr. versus Richard Commey, vacant IBF lightweight title. Your thoughts, Naota?
Yeah, man, just a great fight. Fantastic. Commey was putting it on Easter early. Easter started to come back in the middle rounds. Commey was finishing strong late until that last round where Easter almost knocked Comey's fucking head off. I'm amazed that he even was able to stay up on his feet. Yeah. He just got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was almost doing that little lean where it's like he was about to like go to the side like a Joe Frazier and throw like a right hooking cross, and he just got caught right in the middle of doing that with a huge right hand. Like perfect. Like if you want to show somebody how to throw a right hand, you show him that shot that Easter hit him with. Because that was completely well leveraged, perfect right on the button. You know, you couldn't ask for a better punch. But he managed to stay on his feet. I thought Commey won. I had Commey winning the fight close. I had him by 1 point. But I wouldn't be mad at Easter getting the fight, getting the decision. I mean, it was a close either way type of fight. Several swing rounds. Both guys did serious damage to each other. Easter wound up coming out on top, and it's kind of unfortunate because I'd love to see a rematch, but I know there's no way in hell Commey's getting the rematch unless he nicks a belt off of somebody else and like gets it demanded. But I mean, shit, it's crazy because it's crazy because Bandcamp now has more world champions than TMT.
How the roles have reversed. Anyone else?
I thought it was a great fight, but man, like I know we always joke around about like this pad work and these bag work where people don't move their feet at all and they just stand there throwing punches. And then you see a guy who's rangy and is a good athlete, like, you know, old boy right here, and he can't move any which way. He just either walks forward or he stands still. He never steps over. He never, like, steps to his left and pivots, nothing. And there's no way he should be getting hit by that many clean right hands. Like, he never even circles. Like, he's never on his toes circling. Like, he doesn't do anything. He's like a plotter. Like, he walks forward, and there's no reason why Easter being fucking looking like he's 6'7", 135 should not be moving around at all. Like, what the fuck? Unless he has, like, a Tommy Hearns right hand, which he obviously doesn't have. I don't know. I just don't understand. But there's no there's no movement. Like, you know what I mean? And then when you see all these training videos, they're standing in front of a bag, not moving, throwing 90 punches in a row. Like, maybe you step over, do something.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny because we were talking about fights of the year. It's a big contrast in the technical level between this one and the Cuadras Chaco fight.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just want to chime in on this one. I really enjoyed it, man. It was a really good fight. And it's another one of these... Well, I didn't pay much attention to it. I don't know if you guys were saying it would be fight of the year Canada, but... The thing about Easter, you just hit the nail on the head, Kev. He's got all these physical talents, and he just doesn't use them. You know, he basically invites guys to just come in and... He stands upright with that lanky body, and sometimes he does a shitty shoulder roll, and he's just not using his tools. But
he needs to train with Kamegai.
Shoulder rolls should just be removed from Bandcamp. Just get it the fuck out of there. Your boy's head was looking like a Pez dispenser. Every time he got hit, that shit was popping up. I was waiting for candy to come out of his neck or something, man. It was fucking awful.
Yeah, I want to give I don't remember who it was, man, because I wanted to give that person a shout out, but I think it was somebody on Twitter, and I was watching the fight the day after, and somebody was like tweeting as if they were AB, who was like sitting ringside, right, standing up and yelling all the time, as if he was giving Robert Easter advice, and somebody was just tweeting like lines that he would say, be like, yeah, that's good. Now tell him you can't hit me. Tell him that.
Shake your head. Shake your head. No.
It was fucking hilarious, man. But I like the passion from AB, though, man.
There must have been an all-you-could-eat buffet in the joint because your boy's looking big.
Yeah, he blows up every time, right? But yeah, great fight. Definitely I think this fight had a little bit more of the drama that's required for like a fight of the year Canada, even though it was technically a little bit more of a brawl. But yeah, it's definitely up there.
Those are what tend to win it generally.
Yeah, it's true, man. I mean, for me, it doesn't have to be pretty, you know. As long as it's a fucking dog war, then I'm good with it. So,
yeah,
great fight.
I enjoyed it. I don't really think it's fight of the year. I thought maybe like the first half was just average. It kind of picked up after that debatable knockdown with the glove touching or not. But me and Neota talked about it last week, and I was saying that, you know, Easter kind of headhunts a bit more, and Commey kind of goes to the body, but it was actually a bit of a role reversal. I thought Easter went to the body a bit more, and Commey headhunted a bit too much. But the first few rounds, I thought, like Neil said, Commey put it on him. He was he was coming over Easter's jab with the right hand, but it's almost like, again, role reversal. Third round onwards, Easter started doing that to him. Like, Commey would shoot the jab and Easter would come up over with the right hand, and it was a good technical fight. Lacked a bit of drama for me, but I enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. I thought Easter won it by a round, and that's about it. Anyone else?
Yeah, I was gonna I was gonna ask what everybody scored it, because a lot of people felt like Commey got robbed, so I was curious to see what people scored it.
I scored it 7-5 for Commey.
Anybody else?
I don't
score it
6-4.
6-4 for Commey.
I scored it 12-0 to Commey.
Yeah, but based on the highlights, right?
No, I actually didn't watch it.
Extended, Lem.
The only thing I saw was the last round when what's his name? Easter hit Commey with that belt out of a punch. You gotta give Commey some credit, man. He never skips leg day.
Bro, you were bigging him up last week, and you couldn't even be watching his fight.
I imagine, I completely forgot about it. Like, I saw everything else, but I don't know, I completely forgot about it, and I only remembered when you started speaking about it, but I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know, man. I thought Commey was going to win this fight, but, I guess no one happens for him, man. It's going to be sad for him, though, because he's probably going to be one of those guys that's going to be ducked, going to have to, probably become a mandatory or something in order to get a shot now.
Yeah, that's true. No one's going to give him voluntary shots anymore.
Well, that's the good thing, though, is the IBF enforces them mandatory. So if he could snatch another ranking at that same sanctioning body, then he'll be right back in it.
Yep. And Naota, I know you watched it. I don't know if anyone else did, but I caught it on Daily Motion. Edward Troyanovsky versus Keita Abara, if I pronounced that correctly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, he did. He did really well.
It was a fun 2 rounds. It was the way Abara fell out the ring, man, turned into a deck chair. That was hilarious, man. I know I shouldn't be laughing, man, but I was laughing my head off when he fell out the ring.
Well, it was
shame on you.
Yep.
Well, it was especially hilarious because, in the first round, I thought Abara rocked Troyanovsky before Troyanovsky came back really well at the end of the round. Then in the second round, man, he just managed, Troyanovsky hit him with a clean 2-piece, like a right hand, left hook, then hit him with another right hand, left hook up against the ropes, and then a right hand that knocked Obata through the ropes. And it was funny because, there was a guy ringside that almost, was holding Obata up, and he just dropped him on the back of his fucking head against the concrete.
Yeah.
And I was amazed that Obama was even able to get up and climb back into the ring after that.
You know what that is, though? I don't think anyone's allowed to kind of aid anyone to get back in the ring, so I think that's why you kind of move out the way and let him just drop.
No, yeah, but the thing is, it's almost like he broke his fall, but then it's like he dropped him literally on his head, as opposed to where if he would have fallen naturally, I don't think he would have smacked the back of his head up against the damn concrete.
Troyanovsky started celebrating. I think he did like a backflip, and then while he's doing that, Abara's trying to make his way back into the ring, and the fight continued.
He literally walked back up the steps, got it back into the ring, and with his trunks hanging off his ass.
Yeah,
it was pretty funny, and then the ref had to pull him back up over his waistband. Did anybody else see it, though?
I did.
What'd you think?
No, you didn't.
I just thought, I did, I swear. I thought Troyanovsky did well. The other guy was mismatched. I mean, I don't know. I know it was a short fight, so that's why I watched it, but...
Well, it was two big punchers.
Naota, do you know much about the other guy? Because he had a kind of... Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask, do you know if he already has a mandatory set in place, Naota, after...
No, that wasn't mandatory. That wasn't mandatory.
Okay. Oh, it was. Okay. Yeah, my bad.
So
what
now,
was your question?
Troyanovsky versus Crawford should honestly be the next fight. Because, you got an undefeated champion with knockout power, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that actually be pretty good, actually. Just because I think Troyanovsky, compared to Postal, he's just a much more aggressive fighter. And we still haven't really seen Crawford get tested by a heavy-handed puncher of Troyanovsky's magnitude yet. So, should be a good one, man. Hopefully that shit goes down in Nebraska. And, it's actually a legitimate name because I think that Postal fight left us such a bad taste in our mouths just because there's such little action. But I really do think Troyanovsky could get him into some trouble early.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, Naota, do you know anything about Abara's history? Because, I don't know, his stance seemed like he was maybe a kickboxer or a Muay Thai or something like that.
Actually, he was a kickboxer before he became a boxer. Not Muay Thai, but regular kickboxing.
Yeah, the way he had his front foot, it just seemed like he had that background.
Yeah. But, knockout artist, though. He had 15 knockouts and 16 wins going into the fight. But, at the same time, Troyanovsky pretty much had a similar record, 25-0, 22 knockouts. So, the guy could punch. And, the difference between him and Postal, though, is he's not as tall and lanky as Postal, but he's a little bit more of a mid-range and inside guy. You know, he has some good power and range on the inside of the mid-range. You know, I'd still favor Crawford to win the fight, but I mean, as he's picking up belts and trying to make a legacy for himself, why not fight an undefeated knockout artist world champion? You know what I mean? Why not?
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? All right, let's have a break quickly. Name check all the people in the chat. We have African Shah, Tony Yayo, Nothing for Something, Pinhead 360, BSH 316, Larry Magoo, Bill Bones 101, Nunez 83, PM versus Mr. C, J3 the A-side, TBE Chef, Scores Fam, all in the building today. Jason 268, Loco Mexican, BRD Hey, Doe Masters, Johnny Clash, Barceleos, Milos is back. Where you been, Milos? Luke in LA, NK Huffy, Mongo Slad, and 9 guests. Any news or anything you guys want to discuss before we preview next week?
Yeah. Because obviously I'm gonna go soon because I've got work in the morning. I just want to talk about these pussies that straight after the fight want to start calling out Golovkin. Eubank Jr., Billy Joe Saunders, both turned down fights, and then he wants to put a little video out with his belt, talking about give me a date and I will sign and agree. That, nah, man, you were offered the fight, you turned it down. Now fuck off. And for Eubank Jr. saying his corner don't own towels, what is he talking about? My corner don't own towels. What fight was it when his nose was bleeding? There was one fight where he got his nose bust open and they were wiping his nose with a towel. He's full of shit, Eubank Jr. He talks rubbish. He's a nonce. He gets fucked in his ass by his dad. Fucking fuck the Eubank.
Damn.
Honestly, like that was so disrespectful as well to say we don't own towels. Like, you're not a human being either. Like, you can't get hurt in a fight. Like, it's pisses me
but
off.
Danny
Jacobs gets a
Eubank
pass.
Sr. on the line.
Listen, I give Danny Jacobs a pass in it because, like, you know, he called him out after his fight. These guys are just sitting at home watching Golovkin fight and saying, you know what? He just fought. Let me call him out now. You know what I'm trying to say? What?
Yeah, like they saw some kinks on the armor and they're trying to get at him there.
Billy Joe Saunders don't want no fight. He doesn't even want to fight. He's been a champion nearly a year now. He hasn't fought nobody. Like, what's Billy Joe Saunders doing anyway? He's not doing fuck all, turning down fights with Gabe Rosado. I mean,
Keep it going.
For fuck's sake, you're ducking Gabe Rosado.
No, nobody's ducking Gabe Rosado. Let's be fair to some extent. There's not a
He
single
turned
person
down
in
the
the
fight.
world.
What are you talking about?
Because Gabe Rosado's just a bomb.
I just think he's not in the state to fight, man. He's just a fat mess at the moment.
No, let me ask you though, because in that same video that you just mentioned, Mata, he said that he already has a date signed for the 29th of October, right? Do any of you guys know who he's fighting on that particular date?
Why, are you free? Can you make 160?
No, I'm only asking because if he supposedly does have a date, my question was, why not just bypass that fucking fight altogether? Because he doesn't seem to have a single issue turning down fights, right? So why not just get that fucking date out of the way and just have that date or a couple weeks afterwards be the date that you actually step up and fucking fight Triple G? That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, exactly, because they already said Triple G is looking to fight at the end of November, so...
I think Billy Joe found out on a grapevine that WBA were going to mandate Jacobs, so he thought, let me just call him out and say I want him next, and then I'll be able to say he ducked me.
By the way, I don't think he has an opponent confirmed. I'm just Googling it now. I don't think he has one.
No, I think
he was scheduled. Dangerous Tom Bomb Anderson.
I think it's the Klitschko Fury rematch undercard, yeah, but it's just a TBA at the moment.
Yeah, so in other words, it doesn't fucking matter. He can easily go for Golovkin,
exactly,
right? Which he won't.
Which was my point.
I mean, he has to be.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, we shit on a lot of people, but this guy, I think we can all agree, is pound for pound the fucking worst fucking person in boxing at the moment.
Pound for pound bummiest.
Wow. I don't know about that, man. There's a lot of fucking bums in this sport.
Who is worse as a character, you know, than fucking Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, the guy is the shittiest champion.
No. Danny Garcia's up there, and Broner.
Nah, he makes
Broner's
up
up there.
No. DSG makes up for it with his awesome merchandise. And Broner's kind of
and his music videos and his dad.
Broner beat Fort Porter.
Oh, at 144. Oh, fuck off.
True.
Yep.
True.
Hey, did you guys see that video of Broner of the reason why he turned out Manny Pacquiao? Because he wanted 8 fucking figures. That fat fuck wants 8 fucking figures. Are you kidding me?
No, Dan, you misconstrued it. He wanted 8. He wanted 8 figures worth of nachos. That's what he wanted.
It seems like this guy, the way that he looks at contracts is, this guy needs to pay me 1 more figure than the number of kids that I have. That's the way that he goes about his contractual business. Fuck this motherfucker. And now he has the audacity and he has the balls that he's going to be fighting some random opponent in the UK, so people get hyped for like 4 seconds and think, oh, maybe he's going to fight Kell Brook. No, he's fighting fucking Ricky Burns. Fuck off.
Fuck you.
Fucking
Did you really fight Ricky Burns?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Ricky Burns versus Adrian Broner. He said
Ricky
he
Burns
wants,
is going up to welterweight?
No,
No,
Broner's
it seems
saying
like
that he's going to
Broner's
fight
going
for
down
his
to one.
title.
Yeah, he's going to be fighting at 140 for his title. So
No way.
What
Broner
the
ain't
fuck
making
do?
140.
Yeah, he can't make that. He will miss
They're
that.
gonna have to rig them scales.
Stop talking talking
it's kind of
Think about
Shoot,
7 pounds
I
off.
what he
Burns.
said. So you
I
should
would
be
pick
happy
Burns
for your
in that
boy
fight.
Ricky Burns, man. You should be happy that he's getting a fucking.
When Broner weighs in, it's gonna be 139. 139.
Oh, did Chemo say he'd pick Burns?
He takes that soul.
Nah, man. Burns could lose this fight coming up, man.
Nah.
Burns is one of those guys, man, that can just fuck up when you don't even expect him to.
He's back, dude.
I like
Second.
Ricky Burns.
I think he might lose this fight coming up.
It's a
man.
shit fight though. You don't go from turning down Manny Pacquiao though to fighting Ricky Burns. That's just blasphemy. Yo, he's gonna weigh in at like 143 and a half, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, you didn't realize the contract was plus or minus 4. Like he could fight." Like it's gonna be some bullshit.
Says the guy whose favourite fighter rematch for Sergio Mora.
Yeah, but unlike you, I shitted on that fight. I've never defended it, and he's not my favorite fighter. I don't know where that came from.
You're not a friend then.
I'm a friend of his.
Christ.
I just don't think he's a good fighter. I just don't think he has a good resume.
Yo, but
And
you
he's
gotta
definitely
love
not a
Broner,
good
though.
broadcaster.
You gotta love Broner though, man. The way he just doesn't give a fuck. Like he honestly does what he
Nah,
wants.
it's
No,
very,
no, I'm
it's
over
very
it.
easy to not
No.
like Burner.
Exactly.
It's very easy to not like Burner.
That boat has sailed about 4 years ago, man.
Man, but honestly, like
All day.
I just like that he just doesn't care. I just
Hard
like
work.
that he doesn't give a fuck. He does what he wants.
Hard work. All day.
All right, let me jump in. Any other news you guys want to talk about?
Shut it down, Kev. Shut this shit down.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
It's getting out of hand.
Nah, well,
What was the news we were talking
Estrada versus Yoka possible for New Year's, if not October. So, Estrada needs to get back in the fucking ring, man. He's been on injured reserve for too long. Everybody else is getting money except him.
You
Pulling
beat me
an
to it.
Andre
I was
Ward.
going to mention that.
Anything else, boys?
Do you guys think they're going to do any like good promotion for the Ward Kovalev fight? Are we going to get like 24/7s? Are we going to get anything? Or are they going to just show up and fight?
I think, well, it being a pay-per-view, I think they're going to have to do something, Kev.
No,
Right.
for Canelo Smith, they didn't do shit. They did a fucking Road 2, which is just
Yeah,
a
I saw that, by the
15-minute
way.
special from
Yeah.
HBO, man. Cam, I think HBO's
Bro,
done
I'm
with
hyped
boxing,
off
man.
of that, though. I'm hyped.
No, I think I think they're done with the sport, man. It's just it doesn't generate. I think in their standpoint, I mean, how many 24/7s have they done this year outside of Canelo?
No,
Think
but
about it.
The store was nice, dude. The Crawford production they did was really,
Yeah,
really
but
nice.
that was focused on one fighter, you know.
Yeah, I'm just saying it was really nice.
Yeah, I understand.
But think about it,
We
Lim.
got
Like,
Chance Crawford and this other guy.
Lim, say they have 30 million subscribers, right? If they drop boxing next year, they'll still have 30 million subscribers.
Yeah, they'll
So
probably have 29.9.
I think they realize. Yeah, I think they realize that. So they don't care.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, seeing as though
So
we're
let's
talking
go on.
about HBO, move on to preview next week. Lim, start with you. Your boy Canelo
Yeah.
versus Liam Smith.
Yeah, it's I still don't know much about. Why are you laughing? Why are you giggling, man?
It's just the way
Come on, bro.
it's just the way Cam said it. Canelo versus Liam Smith. Like
I'm just trying to nick a bird, bro. That's it.
he ain't with that grey hair.
No,
He
I was
ain't
talking
no
about
bird with
Canelo.
his grey hair.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm somewhere down the middle with this fight. I don't think Smith is a very good fighter, but I don't think he's a terrible fighter either. You know, I think he's just an average level, top 15, top 20 level guy at that weight class. So, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to defend this fight at all. I'm the last person that's ever going to try to say some fight is good when it's not. But at the same time, at least we're getting a legitimate fight in some degree, are we not? We're not having these fights take place at Canelo weight. It's actually taking place at 154. So, you know, let this be done with and let Canelo fight fucking. I want to see Canelo versus Andre after this, or I want to see him versus a top 5 154 pounder, and then, you know, hopefully we get to see that Triple G fight sometime in 2017. But I really don't have anything much to say about this fight. I think Canelo stops him in round 8.
Lim, did you see Smith ever at the wild card?
Yeah, all the time. He's a good dude. He's a good guy. He's not bad, man. Honestly, he's not bad. But again, he's not at that elite level where I think Canelo should be fighting.
Do you think there's any chance Canelo fights those guys, Lynn?
I mean, they can, right? Because he's at Golden Boy, and those guys are all at PBC, right, outside of Andre.
Yeah, and unlike Top Rank, who basically took a settlement, Golden Boy is still pushing the lawsuit.
Yeah. So that's my question. So,
and Andre would take
Monroe
the fight
versus Rosado on the undercard. So hopefully that's not the direction they go.
Yeah, Andre would take the fight, but I don't know if Canelo will. To be honest, I think Andre would take any money at this point.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're talking about Brook
say what you will about Canelo. I mean, the guy is still fighting at Dallas Cowboy Stadium. You know, and how many fighters can actually do that?
Yeah, everybody was shitting after he didn't fight Golovkin. Yo, his career's over. Everybody's making fun of him, and he's selling 40,000 tickets right now. And he's going to smash the Brook fucking Triple G numbers. So it's like, the guy's still by far the biggest star in the sport, and he's given the biggest events. So like you said, say what you want about him, it hasn't affected his star power yet.
Yeah.
I think Alvarez is probably like the Mexican equivalent of Anthony Joshua in the UK. You know, I think he just attracts a lot of casuals, a lot of women. And I don't think they really even know about the whole Triple G situation, man. It's only like as far as I understood, though, he is getting killed by like boxing media, like Marquez and people like that on TV are ripping him for it. But I don't think it's really trickling down to like the mainstream, who, you know, are obviously the core of how he makes his money.
It's starting to more so though. As time goes on, it's starting to more so. There's more people that are aware of Golovkin and who he is, and more people demanding it because of the fact that guys like Marquez and Estrada and, you know, like a lot of the legends of the sport, Chavez and them, Arce even, that are like basically talking about how.
Oh Lord, come on, bro. Arce, really?
He's a big star in Mexico, man. He's
a fucking legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but still, until the pay-per-view numbers get affected drastically, I still don't know if there's a direct correlation.
Well, a lot of it has more to do with I'm talking about more so Mexicans in Mexico as opposed to in the U.S. that are really putting more pressure on Alvarez as the days go by. In the U.S., it's not as heavy.
But the pressure isn't there as he's making $7.5 million gates and selling 600,000 pay-per-views. Like, then that pressure goes away. And I don't know, Lim, I don't know how much you've been in New York, but even when like Triple G sold out Madison Square Garden, I rode the train and the subway every day. I play in multiple sports, like, you know, intramural type of sports in multiple gyms, and you couldn't ask one random person who Triple G was, they would have no fucking clue. So like that just goes like when you're saying it's not affecting the mainstream, well, the mainstream isn't boxing. The only one that is pretty much is Canelo. So I don't think it's going to be affected. So unfortunately, I don't think the pressure is going to be there for that fight.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like the situation I was talking about earlier. He could fight just about anybody, and for the most part, I mean, his bottom line is not going to be affected.
Yeah,
but call me. Go
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, but call me naive. But
you're naive.
Yeah, I am naive. But I had a little bit of hope that Canelo would step up. I really did, because if that's the case, that he can take any fight he wants, he also didn't have to take the Lara fight, for example.
Exactly. I was going to say that.
And he surprised us all by taking the fight. So a little bit of me still believed in that, Mexican machismo, and that he was going to, well, not only machismo, pride, like this motherfucker is calling me out, and he was saying, all right, we don't fuck around. Well, I thought, okay, it's on. But obviously Canelo, for whatever reason, is being a bit more strategic about it, and it didn't happen. But,
I still cling on to the fact. I still cling on to that hope. So,
yeah, but you know what the thing is, Lim? With Lara, you can lose and you can come out of the fight unscathed. But if you fight Triple G, there's a chance you might end up like Kell Brook, and have a fucking broken eye socket. So
at the same time, I feel like go for it, Hamada.
No, because you can fight Lara and pay off the judges. That's what it is.
For example.
Yeah, great point. Fantastic. To chime in there, but I think I still cling on to that hope because he's still 25 years old, and I think one thing that people have to take into consideration is that there's no other boxer, there's no other star in this sport who means that much to their promotional company as Canelo Alvarez, right? Golden Boy, their entire business operations, their entire bottom line directly relies on Canelo for everything. Without Canelo, there is no Golden Boy. That's why I feel like there's so much pressure, there's so much interference from Oscar right now for him to just protect Canelo to no fucking end, man. So, I mean, I know this is completely unsubstantiated, but I really do feel like Oscar is the reason why I've always thought Canelo had the balls to fight Triple G, but Oscar didn't want to see his cash.
Lim, you're breaking up. Lim.
When Lim starts talking...
Yeah, I got you.
I have to break up, man.
Yeah, but to Lim's point, like, the reason why Golden Boy could even put on some of these cards to get fighters fights and basically lose money, because these promoters lose money on most of those cards. The reason why they're able to do that is because they make so much money with Triple G, with Canelo. So to Lim's point, like, he is their entire operation.
Basically, he's the president, he's the CEO, he's the firearm, he's everything.
Like the Hair Club for Men, he's not only a president, he's a client, man.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the fight, though. Chu, how do you see Canelo Smith playing out?
2 rounds. 2 rounds to Canelo knockout.
No, I disagree. I disagree.
I love that.
Why do you think that, Chu?
I've called Liam Smith a beast in the past.
Beefy.
And when I look back at his opponent, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. He's been picked for a reason. This is a showcase fight on pay-per-view. 2 rounds, I'm exaggerating, okay. 5 rounds. Within 5 rounds, you'll knock him out. Highlight reel. It'll be over, and after the fight, Canelo will call out Triple G. You'll never fight him. It'll just be the same shit. The reason being is because I think Liam Smith is very technical, but he's very slow. Whereas Canelo is actually quite fast. He's got good combinations and shit, and I just think speed will be the difference.
I think Gallagher's going to use his classic game plan. High guard. Smith's not going to do much. not going to do much for 6-7 rounds. He'll just trying to counter off the blocks. I don't think he'll have much success. And then I think like 6th, 7th round, I think Canelo will probably start penetrating the guard, probably go to the body as we're trying to bring the hands down a bit. And it'll probably just be like stopped off accumulation of punches and that. But I do like Smith. I've kind of spoken highly of him for a while. It's just that being on Box Nation, he's not really had good opponents. Warren's picked his opposition quite well, and he's not really had to have any tough fights. But this is a big step up for him, and it's going to be a Cowboy Stadium, thousands of people, and I think hopefully he doesn't do a Scott Quigg and just shit the bed. But good luck to him. But I think Canelo should win quite convincingly.
Cam, you don't think that signature Gallagher left hook to the body is going to be a problem?
You know what? He has got an excellent left hook to the body, man. But Canelo's got.
That's what I'm saying.
Canelo kind of punches his combinations, and he does move out of the way. He doesn't always just stand there. So Smith really needs his opponent to stand right in front of him. If he fights an opponent that's got any type of movement, I know Canelo isn't one of those type of boxers. Smith does struggle. He wants you right on the X. He wants you to stand on the X.
I don't think Canelo's going to move that much in this fight for two reasons. One, I don't think that he can move as much, having to make the low weights that he does for his body. And two, I don't think he's really going to be all that concerned about what Smith is throwing at him. I think he's going to go in there, beat the shit out of Smith, and knock him out in about 5 or 6.
Stylistically,
I think Smith will land a few good shots. It'll be fun, while it lasts. But I think Canelo's going to be landing clearly the harder shots that do more damage, break him down.
Yeah, stylistically, I think this is going to look similar to Angulo, except Smith is probably a lot more better and a lot more in the prime of his career. But Canelo does well against slow guys that come forward. That's all you need to know, and I think it's going to be a very comfortable fight for him. Go for it, Hamada.
Canelo's not going to move. Canelo's just going to do the little subtle things, use it, picking off anything Beefy throws with his shoulders and little subtle side steps, turning him. And this is, honestly, this is a huge step up. I don't think you understand how much of a step up this is for Liam Smith. Honestly, Liam Smith, I don't even think has proven himself at British level. Yeah, he was British champion and that, but honestly, he didn't. His best win on his record, is probably Roos's cousin.
Thompson.
Yeah, it's Eric Oching.
It's probably Eric Oching. Honestly,
he's daring to be great.
Honestly, it's a huge step up. He's going to be fighting in front of a huge crowd in a stadium. I just think it's going to end up like the Brian Rose Android fight, where he's going to freeze, the occasion's going to get to him, and Canelo's just going to pound on him and just beat him up, man. Kind of like Kimo said, the Angulo fight. Smith's going to have the high guard. Canelo's going to come around with the right hooks and the left hooks around the guard and the left hook to the body, uppercut through the middle. It's going to be painful. Hopefully Liam Smith has a decent chin on him, so at least he can, maybe execute the Gallagher game plan, which is obviously to wait till Canelo gasses. But like I said, he's going to get pummeled. But this is a pivotal period, 2 weeks coming up, in British boxing, because we could potentially have Joe Gallagher have no world champions. Because, Crawler's fighting next week against Anares as well. So hopefully they both lose and Joe's back to square one where he has no world champions.
Why are you not supporting Crawler, man? What the fuck?
Nah, man. Not that, man.
Hamada, do you think Joe Gallagher's going to have the towel over his shoulder?
You never know. If he cares about Liam Smith, he better have that towel ready. But
anyone else regarding this fight? Sorry.
Wait, before I finish, do we even know if Liam Smith is better than Paul Smith?
yeah, he's better than Paul Smith. Come on, bro. Don't disrespect him.
Do we even know, though? How do we even prove it? How can we
Paul
prove
Smith
it?
at this point has to be better, right? Because he did well against Abara.
Yeah. At least Paul Smith has actually fought people. All right, he might have lost to Groves and all these guys, but Liam Smith is so unproven. I don't think people understand how untested and unproven he is.
Can I illustrate that, Hamada? I'm on his Wikipedia page, right? And he's got 24 boxers that he fought. Literally only 2 of them have links to other Wikipedia pages. I'm not joking. The other ones are all I don't know, never fucking heard of him, and the internet doesn't know them. It's just gone. And the 2 of them that have Wikipedia pages are Eric Oching, which we talked about, and somebody called Josh Thompson from the United States.
John Thompson. Yeah.
That's it. So
he's
John
been
Thompson.
picked for a reason. It's honestly, it's a cherry pick of the highest order. This is cherry picking at its best, and we're gonna find out why whenever they fight.
All right. Anyone else regarding Canelo versus Smith? Nope. Alright, I don't really give a shit about Rosado versus Monroe, but my pick is Monroe UD. I don't really rate Rosado, and I don't
Willie
actually
the Worm.
I don't actually mind watching Monroe. I started watching him back when he was in the Boxino on ESPN, and I kind of enjoyed watching his style. So yeah, I like Monroe.
Yeah, I got Willie the Worm. Willie the Worm. You know, shout out to our boy over there. Willie the Worm is gonna, you know, move and shake and beat Rosado, cut him up, and I actually think he might stop Rosado late. You know, I think he may make him bleed a lot, possibly have him blinded, and I mean, just have it either stopped on cuts or maybe hit him with a shot that he doesn't see.
Blinded. I was like, fuck. It's like some...
I disagree.
Willie ducked my boy Sergey D, so I ain't fucking with him. But I think Willie beats Rosado just because everybody else beats Rosado, right?
No, I got King Gabe Rosado by decision.
Well, did you hear what they said at the presser, the little conference call? Gabe was saying that, like, oh yeah, you know, you're just an ESPN level fighter, and then Willie said, well, you've lost the ESPN level fighter, so like, what does that say about you?
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think Naota, I think you're forgetting who's in Gabe Rosado's corner, huh?
Who's that?
Fernando Vargas is gonna make you eat your words. Seriously, he's
oh man, I'm a big fan of Fernando Vargas, but I don't think anybody could help Gabe Rosado win this fight, man.
I don't know about that, man.
Even the great El Feroz.
They've been having a good chemistry on the pads, man. I don't know. Don't sleep on Rosado.
All right, let's move on. Sky have picked up this card in Poland Saturday. Got Krzysztof Glowacki versus Alexander Usyk. Usyk's 10th professional fight, I think, fighting for a world title. Who wants to go first?
KH.
Cruiserweight expert.
I'm a cruiserweight expert?
Just for today.
Hey, just because he is a cruiserweight doesn't mean he's a cruiserweight expert.
Shit, I'd have to cut off an arm to make cruiserweight right now. Shit.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand why you motherfuckers are laughing. I meant that as a compliment, you fucks.
Shit. What? I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
Glowacki versus Usyk.
Oh, I like Usyk. I saw Glowacki at that fight on the Spence Algeria undercard against Cunningham, and he looked real sloppy, especially as the fight went on. I think Usyk's a little too sharp, and he's going to hurt him pretty bad. He's going to catch him wide open when he squares up, and it's going to be ugly. I think Usyk stretches him in like 8 or 9.
Yeah,
it's going to be a fun fight, though. These are like the fights, Cam, you were talking about. Cruiserweight gives us these fights. Most divisions don't.
Yeah, I'm like you.
Cruiser.
I've never been too impressed with Glowacki. He did good against Hook, but against Cunningham, that was a horrible fight. And I've said before, he puts a lot of his weight on his back foot and stuff like that. But I got Usyk, like you, late stoppage, maybe 9th, 10th. I know Basileus is saying 12th round UD, but what were you going to say, Nailton?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, yeah, you know, Glowacki was losing all the rounds that he didn't knock Cunningham down in. But no, I mean, cruiserweight is the outlier division, along with, you know, the flyweight divisions that gives us the fights we want to see. You know, it's the best versus best consistently. You know, top 5 versus top 5 level guys. And I think Usyk is ready, like he's primed to take over, man. And I think, yeah, Glowacki's a little bit too sloppy. Sometimes he gets winded in the middle of rounds. I don't necessarily want to say gasses out, because obviously he catches a second wind in the third and all that good stuff. But I think Usyk's just going to be a little too sharp. I mean, he could box it. I think he could outbox him, or he could outfight him. It's like it doesn't really matter which strategy he chooses. I think Usyk is just a better fighter than Glowacki is, and I think he's going to punish him and probably stop him in about the 7th.
Anyone else?
I don't really know these guys well. But it sounds to me like this is going to be a fucking war. So send me a link.
Dog war.
Yeah.
Well, Sky picked it up, so I'm sure a friend of the show, Davey Boy Essex, will have it up somewhere. But yeah, it's good that Sky picked it up, because I was kind of worried I'd have to catch a Polish stream with Polish commentary, so that's quite good for us guys in the UK. But yeah, let's move on. Naota, we were talking about it before, off air. Moreno versus Yamanaka rematch in Japan on Friday, and Hugo Ruiz, who had those 2 fights with Seiha, he's fighting Hasegawa on the same card.
Yeah. Ruiz Hasegawa I think that's a pretty easy fight to call. Hasegawa's old. I mean, he's a guy that ever since Fernando Montiel knocked him out in a come from behind KO, he just hasn't been the same. He's chinny now. He's still quick and everything in spite of his age. He still has good boxing skills, but Hugo Ruiz, as he proved against Seiha, he can punch, man. Even in the fight that he lost, the first fight with Seiha, he dropped him twice before he eventually got knocked out himself. And in that second one, he hit dude so hard he broke his damn ankle. So I think that it's only a matter of time before he knocks out Hasegawa. He's just a better timed and better primed boxer than Hasegawa, and he'll defend his super bantamweight title. With Moreno and Yamanaka, it's a little bit tougher to call. You know, Yamanaka is a really well-skilled guy. It's kind of funny to me that he's actually managed to make it on the pound-for-pound list for ESPN in the ring and such, but Inoue hasn't. But I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that he's fought pretty much all the top guys at bantamweight and has come out victorious against them, including Moreno. But I don't favor him to win this rematch. I think that Moreno's a little bit too slick, a little bit too good for him. The only fight that Moreno clearly lost in his whole career was really the Abner Mares fight, where he just got crowded. He just got bum rushed and crowded the entire fight. You have to be able to keep up a very high pace of a lot of punches in order to beat somebody like Moreno. And I think that in spite of the fact that Yamanaka was able to do that to a certain degree and pretty much got the benefit of the doubt in a close fight the first time, I can't see him repeating that enough to get the judges swayed to his side in a rematch. I think that Moreno's gonna outpoint him. If not, I mean, there's always a possibility for a stoppage too, because Moreno digs to the body about as good as anybody I've seen, especially a defensive fighter. So I think Moreno takes probably a close UD, and Ruiz knocks out Hasegawa probably around the 7th or the 8th round.
Nice, thank you, Naota.
Cool.
I'm not going to ask
anyone
anyone else.
Naota?
I'm good.
I'm not going to ask anyone else because you guys don't give a shit. So, anything else?
I'll watch it. I like Moreno, man. But dude, I thought Moreno was much older than he actually is.
He looks old as fuck, innit?
The guy's only like fucking 31. What the hell?
Yeah.
I thought he was like at the end of his career, man, like 35 or some shit.
Nah. He's been around for a while, man. He turned pro when he was 17, so yeah, he's a vet. He's a young vet, not an old vet.
No, I'll definitely tune in.
Anything else, guys, you want to talk about before we go?
Oh man, Ishe Smith, the fucking legendary, the legend that is Ishe Smith.
Frank Galarza.
Frank Galarza, isn't that a movie actor?
Only after he gets a haircut and hits the gym, Lou.
I swear I thought there was a guy named Frank Galarza that's in the Iron Man movies, but I could be mistaken.
Yo, is Klitschko Fury now officially on? What's the deal with that, man? I don't fucking understand this shit.
The news just broke literally like right before HBO started televising, because they didn't even have the graphic for it. It's back on.
But whatever. I mean, I'm reading all kinds of shit. I'm a casual these days, right? But I'm reading about Fury and failing tests in the media, and then all of a sudden the fight is on again. Like, what the fuck is going on, man? I really don't get it.
Well, according to Lampley, our boy Lampley, it's on. So, yeah. And then on the undercard too, man, Huey Fury versus Fat Boy Andy Ruiz. That'll be fun.
But Andy Ruiz it's a slim Andy Ruiz now. He lost about 5 pounds. He looks a lot better.
I swear, watching Andy Ruiz jiggle around the ring like a damn waterbed is pretty disgusting.
It's like watching Ski Mask fight.
Yeah, Ski Mask told me to watch that fucking Canelo Smith promo that was on YouTube, and he was like, "Oh, this is great." It got me hyped for the fight.
Was it the Road to win?
Yeah, that was garbage, man.
What's up with the stitches over Smith's eye, man?
Yeah, stitches.
He looked like he had stitches over his right eye.
Hey, but you weren't turned on just a little bit, Chemo, when Canelo was riding his horse, looking all thick.
I'm sorry, Lim. The chemistry is gone. Ever since he vacated that belt, his manliness has just decreased for me. I'm sorry.
Man, you're a pussy, man.
He was an alpha before, man. Now he's a beta.
Yeah, but he's still fine as fuck.
Like a ginger Vladimir Putin.
Just going back on Klitschko Fury, and to add, today there was announced that Box Nation going to do like a spin-off box office as well. So the issue has been, if they get a really big fight that kind of transcends the casuals and brings them over, people have to sign up, and then sometimes they have to pay a fee, and it all kind of got a bit complicated. They have to use various methods of payment. It wasn't as simple as just like ordering it for your satellite box, but now they've made a platform where you can order specific fights. So if you're already a Box Nation subscriber, you'll get the fight anyway. But if you're just a casual that's going to have some mates around, you can just use your Sky remote and order the fight through it. So I think that's going to help the revenue of Box Nation a bit. Just when they do get those extra casual fans, instead of just trying to stream it, they might actually just buy the fight, and that may help with the longevity of Box Nation. So, but regarding
so
the
they
fights,
can upgrade from cardboard to wood, right?
Exactly, bro. But regarding the fight itself, they had the presser today, and Fury didn't show up. Apparently his car broke down and his phone battery ran out. But I think people like from the people I follow on Twitter, I think they're echoing Kemo's sentiments from a couple of months ago, where people are kind of getting fed up with Fury now. Like the jokes and like the antics are kind of getting really thin now.
Damn. So the Batmobile ran out of gas, huh?
Yep. The
But
Lambo.
the whole buzz around this rematch is just completely gone. I mean, they just killed it off. Now everybody's just like, okay, let's just get it out of the way so we can see what else happens.
That's kind of the way it was to begin with, though, to be fair, Kimo. I mean, everybody always felt like...
I was kind of pumped for it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking on behalf of myself, but I was actually looking forward to what Klitschko was going to do in the rematch. I know the first one was really shitty, but I kind of, I don't know, kind of felt like it would go a different way.
Well, I think most people were thinking and or hoping that Fury would, outpoint him again and be done with the Klitschko era. And it'd be done and over with. And we could move on.
I hope that Klitschko takes a little bit more risks, but we'll preview that when it comes around. Are you planning on going, Cam, still, or are you like fuck it?
No, unless I get cheap tickets, I'm not gonna go.
Are you going to Crawler?
Yep, $1 million.
Oh man, it's gonna be fire.
Are you going with anyone, Cam?
A few friends, but it's a shame that Undercard's terrible, but I don't expect any less from Eddie Hearn these days.
Are you going with Scorsese?
Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?
And you should go, man. It's gonna be a great fight.
Are you going Hamada?
Nah, Hamada's dropped off. But let's wrap it up, boys. Get some final thoughts and get out of here. Pushing 3 hours. Naota, any final thoughts, young man?
It's just some quick final thoughts for the Alvarez-Smith undercard. There's Jojo Diaz versus Andrew Cancio. It should be a good fight. Jojo Diaz, prospect on the rise. Well, I mean, not even really a prospect, contender on the rise at featherweight. Cancio has scored a couple of upsets here and there, but he lost to Ronnie Rios, so Jojo Diaz should beat him. But Cancio can punch. I mean, he knocked out the coalition's favorite fighter, Hugo Cazares, in 3 rounds last year. So, he could do that. And then Diego De La Hoya versus Louis Del Valle. Valle was actually a pretty highly ranked prospect a few years ago until he lost to Victor Cheney on the come up. But I think he's going to come up short here again, too, because I think Diego De La Hoya is legit. I think he's one of the better prospects at 122 or 126. He's going to be fighting at 122 for this fight, as I understand it, though. And, I mean, he's a really good fighter. He fights a little bit more like Mosley than he does his uncle, Oscar, though. So it'll be interesting to see once he gets a title shot. I think he'll be able to nick one. But as for right now, I think he wins over Del Valle. And that's pretty much it for me.
Nice. Thank you, Naota. Lim, any final thoughts?
No, I'm good, man.
No worries, thank you. And Kimo, good to have you on a Monday. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, mixed emotions this weekend, man. I mean, you gotta say, like, Triple G is the polarizing figure in boxing these days. I don't know what it is about the guy. Maybe there's just something about a hard punching dude that people seem to hype up that just drives everybody crazy as boxing fans. I really don't know what it is, but We always seem to get into fucking arguments about this guy. I really sincerely hope that Jacobs Mora, oh my God.
You want Jacobs Mora free? Come on.
I want number 3. Yeah.
Rubber match.
I sincerely hope that we get Jacobs Triple G. The moving up, I don't think that's going to happen, even though I personally want it. I just hope we get a fucking decent fight, man. That's the best we can do at this point. Good show. It's good to be on again, man.
Thank you, Kimo. Good to have you as always. I know Kev's jumped back on. Kev, any final thoughts?
Nah, I like Kimo's. I'll ride with that.
All right. Thank you to everyone that was on the show today. Thanks to all the people in the chat. And thanks to everyone that downloads the show week in, week out. We'll be back next week. Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
I did. Man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the #1 flyweight in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically burning you, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the show, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in them.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kel, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
Feels great. Did we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass. Just to play devil's advocate. You want 1 portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand him, what? I'm Scottish. Cringe side?
But you won't rush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you? He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you weighed for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition. We are live every Monday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. UK time, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern.